Welcome to Freethinkers Fireside, where we put the human in humanness, one cozy chat at a time. My name is Helen, also known as House Bells, and tonight we have frequent chatter and all around awesome person to the show. So we're going to say hi to Miss NonSequitur. So let's say hi. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. How are you doing, honey?
Yeah, I'm always spamming your chats.
I love it. That's why I love you. I love attention. You struck my ego.
And there's Vic Lit came in, one of my most favoriteest people in the world.
Hi, welcome,
Hi,
Vic.
Vic.
Welcome to the show. So, for the people that may not know you, who are you? What do you do and stuff?
I am. Well, as I was telling you earlier, I am the flaming leftist commie, LGBT terror that
you are
everybody's
scary.
warned about. Yeah, I'm just everything that I was not raised to be.
Yeah, sounds about right. Like I said, we are a dictatorship nightmare, and that's all that you need to be. So
yes, love it.
So besides that, what else do you do?
Besides that, what I do is mostly I'm a mom. I have for the past couple years, I've been privileged enough to be able to not work outside of the home and work mostly on my mental health and like side jobs and stuff. So I don't really do any one thing other than momming. But
that's a job in itself. So it's the most important job.
And about I don't know, 9 months ago or so, I found Atheist YouTube. And I found
Oh wow! It's been that recent.
Here.
I didn't realize it had been that recent. Oh my goodness!
It really has been incredibly recent. I mean,
I have been in a better time than I was. So anyway,
I've been an atheist since I was in my 20s, but I only recently discovered the community. So
we are.
I grew up LDS.
We are a mixed breed. we are a mixed breed of chaos. This I came in during Gamergate, where there was a bunch of toxicity going on within skeptical communities, gamer community, because like the atheist community and the gamer community kind of overlap sometimes, and there was a lot of shit going on, and there wasn't a lot of like diversity. It's still mostly cis straight white guys, but there's also like a lot of other wonderful people making content now that are not cis straight. Nothing against my cis straight white guys. I'm married to one, but I'm just saying, like,
many of
that
them
was the time I was coming in.
Individuals, fine people.
Yes, they are. Yeah, I'm like, I'm sorry that you were born in that body, but here we are. So.
I won't hold your
I won't judge you.
Your male gender against you.
That's right. Exactly. Only what you do with it. But that's everybody.
Exactly.
So you were here when Stephanie was on, when she was talking about her leaving the Mormon church, I think.
Because
that's when I found
might have missed that one. I think I wanted to see that one, but I think I might have missed most of it.
There's somewhere you told me you were a Mormon along the way, and I was like, "Ooh,
yeah."
The most fascinating.
I mentioned it. Well, whenever the subject in your stream comes up of purity culture, I tend to mention it because it sure did a number on me.
Oh yeah,
yeah. The mainstream LDS, is very much into the purity culture. I got the whole chewed gum. Actually, the one I remember most is when one of my teachers crumpled up a piece of computer paper and said, "This is what you do when you sexually sin. And, you can repent." And she, took it apart and smoothed it out and stuff. But is this what you really want to present to your future husband, this, crinkly paper. And I'm just like, it's my
How did
freaking.
does that work?
Yeah, I never quite got it either. It's just like basically like the cheat code thing. You're permanently tarnished if you commit sexual sin. And what's more, it's not just yourself you're cheating, it's your future husband, who you should already be thinking about, but not in that way. Keep your hands out of your pants.
This is like that's the thing about purity culture. Like it's the same with the Catholics. It makes no sense. I didn't get so much those sort of purity cultural lessons because I went to Catholic school and they just said don't fuck because it's bad. That was basically the message that we got. Though I did remember my when I was in high school, one of my friends was part of this like non-congregational like Baptist church, and I went to their youth group and they did a purity culture speech, and the one that I heard was the Band-Aid, like the once you take it off it's not as sticky anymore, so it can't be reused.
That's a new one for me.
I was like, yeah, and I was already a queer sexually active teenager, so like it was not sticky. I was like,
yeah,
it was not, it did not stick.
Well,
see what I did there?
That's a weird thing. When in reality, the more you do it, the more sticky you tend to get.
Yeah, you do. That tends to be the thing.
What they were saying. So.
They were very confused. So how long were you in the Mormon church?
Well, my family has been in the Mormon church since kind of forever.
Okay.
They were among the first converts brought over from the British Isles, because the first thing Joseph Smith did was send off missionaries to Great Britain and everywhere that's Great Britain now, to convert people. And a lot of them converted in and emigrated. And my family on both sides was part of that. Actually, it's funny. I recently met a fundamentalist Mormon, and he knew he had heard of my last name because people with my last name are still in some of the fundamentalist groups too, though not my branches of the family. But you're familiar with Alyssa Grenfeld, I know, right?
Yes.
Yes. And she does, isn't she the one that did the Mormon face video?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have big Mormon face. My whole family has big Mormon face. And I mean, it's just all it's a very close-knit group, I mean, you're not supposed to date outside of Mormonism. You're not supposed to do a lot of things.
That's when you're that's when you're recycling the pool.
Yeah. I have a big forehead for a reason. But my parents were actually incredibly devout. I didn't grow up in Utah. I grew up in DC because my dad worked for the Governmental Accountability Office.
My husband grew up in DC.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He grew up in right outside of it, but he grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Oh, okay. See, I was on the other side. I was in Fairfax.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Virginia.
Right.
Yeah.
I've never been anywhere in those places except for an airport. So,
well, it's a nice place to live if you can afford it. But my parents were incredibly devout. And I was raised to, I mean, they're not just true believers. They're the ones they're the intellectuals. They're the ones that do the studying and read the books and the they listen in class. My mom takes notes every spring and fall at the general conferences they have, those big get-togethers the Mormons have every spring and fall, where they listen to the prophet. My mom takes notes, watches every session and takes notes on every talk and goes over them later.
Wow, that's
I mean,
cool.
well, to be fair, my parents
it's a
also
cult.
had
It's a cult.
a doctorate and a master's degree. So, you know, they were schooly type
Oh, well,
people,
okay.
but
What's
they
their
were
master's
really.
in?
My mom's master's is in English, English composition, and my dad's doctorate was in economics.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's impressive.
He got it from Penn State.
Nice. Oh,
So
smart people. They're
yeah,
super smart people.
really very smart people, which as I grew older kind of astonished me because I don't know how.
My brother is an engineer. He designs highways, and figures out like big math things, like where the flow of traffic and where the best place but exits are, and all types of stuff. That's what he does. And he was going to be a Catholic monk at one point.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah, it's one of
there's
those
some
things that you're like,
disconnect.
what?
I mean, there's something. Well, and that was what frustrated me from the get-go, because the thing with me is I never believed it. Not really. I believed it while I was still young enough to just believe whatever your parents,
Right.
when every kid believes whatever your parents tell them, because obviously why would their parents lie? So I kind of was like, yeah, of course, I'm Mormon because that's just the way things are.
Right.
But
Right.
as I got older, I was always the one asking questions that they didn't have answers to.
Oh my
I
God, you
heard,
used your brain.
yes, I know. And I
Same right
heard,
now.
I heard, you well, we don't have the answers to that right now. I guess we'll have to wait until the afterlife to figure it out. I heard that so many times over the course of my life, and
That
it
is
drove
not
me.
satisfying.
No, it drove me nuts. I'm like, why can't we know now? Well, we're not prepared. Well, what do you mean we're not prepared? I'm
What do we
asking the
have to do to
question.
be
I
prepared?
wonder, I mean, it doesn't make sense. And so as I got
Again, make it
older,
make sense.
the questions, apparently my questioning got less cute as I got older. As I got less cute, the questions were less cute too.
Well, yeah, because now you're actually thinking for yourself, and you may have an opinion,
Right.
and you might fight back.
And I did, but not much. But any fighting back, of course, was unacceptable. So,
Well, yeah, you want a vagina.
but
Anyway, go
really,
ahead.
even my brothers, like when they
Yeah.
questioned, they got the same. I mean, it's just they claim they don't mind questions. Yeah, of course, we want you to question. But then when you actually do it and they don't have the answers, or they don't
Then they
have
know what you
answers that are
do.
good enough, they're like, no, question in the way we want you to question.
Right. And how do you know? And there's no way to predict that. Like how, because people are curious about a bunch of different things and they learn different things at different levels. So, like, if you go, like, hey, why did God change his mind on polygamy? And they don't have a good
Right.
answer for that. It's not that society changed and it wasn't actually a good thing. Maybe that because the culture changed. It is God just said so.
Yeah. Why did God say that people of color couldn't have the priesthood? Oh, well, they just pass it off with like, oh, well, we were probably the first church to have black preachers in front of white congregations. And I don't even think that's true, but I heard it so many times.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's true at all. But that's what I heard. And it's like
no.
they would just pawn me off with justifications. And of course, as I grew up, I'm super ADHD, like hardcore. I wasn't diagnosed until forever because I'm a girl. Girls don't have ADHD in the 90s. That doesn't happen.
No, I had ADD. I didn't have ADHD. And they
Yeah.
said but they said it was specifically in math. And I was like, huh. Because I was really good in English and history and other courses, but science and math has always been, it's still my struggle. And they said it was only in math. I was like,
Yeah.
Then you get older, it's like, no, you just become hyper focused on things that you like. So
Exactly. It's like, if you'd made math interesting, I probably would have been better at
I
it.
did. I took, okay, like short story, when I was in my sophomore year of high school, I'd never been very good at math. And then I took geometry with Mr. Sleetus, who I call him out by name. He probably doesn't even know I exist anymore. He might be dead. I don't know. He was old. He was in his 40s when I was when I was 6, like, you know, in my, no, he might be alive. So that much of an age gap. Anywho, he taught geometry, and he would use the physical space to explain concepts, which spoke to my brain more because there was a visual
that would have helped
component.
me so much.
And he was also really funny. So like those two things together, and I got a B+ in that class. And before, I always failed math, and it's just like, it's how you present it. So it's not like I couldn't do math.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is anything I can visualize in concrete terms as far as math goes, like simple math, I'm really pretty good at. But once I got past being able to visualize why it worked, that's where I lost track of everything.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, I like, if there's also, like, math isn't analytical. It is like, this is just the way it is. And my brain naturally goes to analyzer. Like, I'm playing this stupid video game right now, and I got into a big talk about ChatGPT last night, talking about concepts and ideas that I thought about the fucking video game for an hour because I was analyzing the story, you know, because that's what I do, because I love analysis. Like, I feel like if I could find, like, that's why I like psychology so much, because it's all analysis.
Yeah.
So, but when we're talking about like math and like concrete, like science and math, my brain just can't. It goes to a different place, but it's just the way my brain works. You know, it's like, it's neither good or bad. It's just,
I totally get it.
Different brain. You know. Yeah. So you were ADHD, asking too many questions.
Too many questions. Yes. And you know, I kind of want to investigate the relationship between ADHD and high demand religions, because it seems to me, in my experience, and this is just, you know, anecdotal, obviously, but it seems to me it goes in two very opposite directions. Either your hyper focus is your religion, or the high demand religion is that structure that makes you feel confined and suffocated, and you have to break out. So, and I've seen it go both ways.
So when Chris Shelton was here, I don't know if you were here that night when Chris was on, he grew up in Scientology, and he was like in the upper ranks of Scientology. And he has a theory that people with ADHD, we might be more prone, certain aspects of people with ADHD with not good emotional regulation and attachment issues, might be more prone to fall into cults and high control groups, because
they're
one, we have
even though they're weird.
Yeah, and they're accepted even though they're weird. We have perceived rejection dysphoria, where you feel like and then we become people pleasers, which is also appealing to cults. And there's like this whole like you know, and I can kind of see it, like now that like I understand the psychology of it, I'm like, yeah, that would, if I could see myself, if I didn't have some practical ideas and skills even as a young age, because like I was Catholic, and then I was like, this is dumb, right? And then
and then you became pagan.
Yeah, and then this is what you get. But I was a skeptical pagan. I'm like, I just can't buy gods. I know there must be
so
something.
Many of us went through our pagan phases too. I mean, it's a fun road. Pagans or anything. I'm not saying that, you know, I disrespect pagans
You
or
can be. I'm
whatever.
an atheo-pagan. Like, I love nature and I worship it, and because I can prove it exists also as well. Like, but I don't believe in anything super. You can do that as a pagan.
I would
It's
love
like
to tell me more about that, because that appeals to me, because I loved all those aspects
yeah, you
of
can be.
my toe dip into paganism, but I couldn't buy the supernatural aspects.
No, that was the thing. Like, I tried, like, I promoted some of it but I was doing, like, the early like, I didn't understand how I was already being biased and expecting a result. Like, that's not how science works. And also, like, when I was a teenager, like, a project of the 90s, I watched The Craft and a lot of, like, Charmed and Buffy, and like it's gonna affect your brain.
We're like almost the exact same age. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're 48, I'm 43. So I mean,
so if you were a teenager in the 90s, you got affected.
and oh my goodness, did it jumpstart my pansexuality? I mean, goodness me.
Oh, girl.
Every woman in there was hot as F.
Every show I was like, okay, mm-hmm. Like, I would do the whole cast anyway. But like the atheo-pagan, but now that I've left religion, but there's a lot of like, I think there's a lot of benefits to, like, honoring your ancestors. Like, remember where you come from, honoring nature, because it keeps you alive, and we are nature. Right. We're not separate from it on a atom level. we are nature, and it's not. It can be, like, if I'm going to talk about a spiritual experience, this is as close to a spiritual experience I can get, because it's bigger than me. It's fucking everything, but there's nothing supernatural going on. There's nothing external. This is just reality that I live in. And then maybe my next life, I'll be both, like, a paint can and maybe a tree. I don't know. I'm going to feed a tree. I know that's what I want. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And I think that's kind of where I settled, because I learned so much in paganism, especially about ancient religions.
Yeah. And I bet that, I mean, the thing is that, okay, there were two big major shelf breaks for me. Like, the ones that, I mean, I never bought into Mormonism. I really just never bought into it. When I was a young adult, I did kind of a deep dive, and I'm like, I'm going to do everything right for a significant extended period of time. So I am going to find out if I was just right, if I was just rebelling and that's why I never bought into it, or I'm going to do whatever they say. And I did. And I got nothing back. And I did it for about 1.5 years, which feels like it ought to be long enough. But some people think
I would have quit after
that I should have just kept trying, like my parents. But anyway, but I never really, like, beyond that time where I really committed myself to living the way I was supposed to, reading the scriptures, doing all the things that were supposed to give me this testimony. Beyond that time, and even during that time, I never really believed it. But I did believe in God or gods. I wasn't really sure, but some supreme being or beings. And there were two incidents that really broke that shelf. The first one, actually, I can never remember which one came first, because they happened pretty close together within 1 year of each other, and I can never remember which came first. But I'll say the first one was, and this one's embarrassing, but I always admit it because I think it's not a singular experience. The first Zeitgeist movie. Are you familiar?
I think it's one of those things that I think I saw, or did I see a lot of clips of? One or the other.
Probably, yeah. One or the other. Anyway, the first part was all about the similarities between Christianity and how it was just kind of copying older religions, but then it kind of went beyond that. And not all of their claims, as I found out later, were entirely, it was a very biased thing. And then the other two parts of the show I didn't even really care for. It was 9/11 was an inside job, and world banks are terrible. And I didn't even pay attention to those. But the first one, where it was like, hey, look at all these similarities in all these religions. And I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, hold on. Ginger alert. I'm going to mute myself real quick.
Okay. So, why they do that? I didn't see, there was one Zeitgeist movie I remember seeing that was called it was a Zeitgeist, and I think Matt Damon was in it. There's something in my periphery of my memory that he was in that. And then another one of those movies at this time was called What the Bleep Do We Know, which is a very new age woo-woo movie. Yeah, that is also kind of in that genre of pseudoscience, putting meaning into patterns. There isn't any, that type of shit. So but I do there's something, like I was saying, there's this vague part of my brain that thinks that Matt Damon was in a Zeitgeist movie, but I'm not sure.
I don't think so. Not that I remember.
I mean, somebody famous I wasn't some in one of those weird movies. Maybe it was Leonardo. I don't know. There was some kind of hot.
No, you're talking about Dogma.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about Zeitgeist.
Okay, because Matt Damon was in Dogma.
Dogma with Ben Affleck and Alan Rickman and Alanis Morissette and George Carlin.
Yes.
Like that movie. I still haven't had my oldest watch that because we all fan over Alan Rickman all the time in this house. Because
amazing,
he floods the basement. Anyway, so I was telling my oldest, I was like, oh my god, yeah, this is a movie. It's so good. And my kids didn't grow up religious. They don't understand religion like those of us that have left it, in the same way, because they've always been atheists. They're just like, I don't get. I mean, you can't unless you live it.
I kind of envy my kids that they got raised. Actually,
I envy it too. I'm like, oh, I could have saved myself so much work.
I have to tell a story. One of my favorite stories of mothering. So, in the LDS religion, you get baptized when you're 8. And when my oldest was 8 years old, we were actually living with my mother, and my oldest was going to church with them pretty much every Sunday because they asked to, because they had friends there, because it was fun, And so I wasn't going to deny them that. I did let them know that I don't go to church, and there are reasons why I don't, but I didn't ever try and tell them how they should feel about it,
Right.
And so they did come to be 8 years old, and at the beginning of the year they would have turned 8. That's when in Sunday school they all start talking about getting baptized and how wonderful it is and how important it is and blah, blah, blah in the Sunday school. And I said to them, I said, I know that a lot of your friends are going to be baptized this year, but I just feel like 8 years old is not old enough to make a lifetime commitment to something. And that's what you're doing by getting baptized. You're making a commitment, a lifetime commitment to something. And I just don't think that's appropriate at 8 years old. And she looks at me and she says, Mom, I don't want to get baptized. I'm an atheist like you. And I said, and inside I was like, yes. But I was so good. I said, you know what? That's not necessarily a decision you need to make right now either. I want you to stay open-minded and think about all your options.
No, I would. Okay, I was this parent. I was like, listen. I said, as you get older, I want you to explore religion. Find it if you want to go to church or whatever. But I said, I am gonna say, if you start following a religion, I feel like I did something wrong. I was like, like, but
Well,
like, I didn't want to say no, but I was also saying like, I was like, because even when I was pagan, I hated organized religion. I thought it was toxic and bad, and it had all these problems with it. Even within our own community, I was so like, yeah, but like it's just really funny when you look back at it when your kids, like my kids are just like, this is all really fucking stupid, and I'm like, yeah, it is. It is stuff. It is stupid,
right? And it's like it's so obvious to them when they're not
yeah,
raised, indoctrinated.
yeah,
And I mean, it came as a shock to me. It really did, because when I was 8, just there was no question. Obviously, I was going to get baptized. That's what you did when you were 8, you know?
hmm
And so even having been going intermittently to church for 6 months, I had this feeling that my kid would kind of feel the same way. And
hmm
I needed to do something about that at that time, but they didn't. They were just like, "No, I mean, I like going. It's fun. I enjoy the stories. I enjoy the friends, but
hmm
nah." you know? Ah, and they still are a very skeptical person, and they're amazing. Shout out to my 16-year-old, because I'm gonna send them this link after. Unless we talk about anything they really don't want to hear. That's why I'm gonna do it after, just in case.
yeah.
But they are the most amazing kid. I really hit it out of the park with my firstborn. I think I made the perfect child. I think I did. Like, not a perfect child, but the perfect Evie.
Okay, yeah, that's your job.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you are a guide. Like I want
Yes.
you to be able to grow up and function in society and have a happy life. And then I'm like, and then you feel like you do, you're like, fly free, a little bird. Like,
Well, they do these crazy things like telling me, "Mom, I'm so glad that I was never afraid to come out to you as
yeah,
lesbian or agender." And I'm just like, "Oh my God, say more pretty things to me. I'm
yeah.
dying. Thank you." But okay, so that was the first one that I saw Zeitgeist, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, they really are all just the same." But Mormonism actually has a response to that. Mormonism loves appropriating other religions and saying they're just misunderstood versions
Oh,
of the true
okay.
religion.
Okay.
So even though these things came out way before Christianity, that was the devil making them come out in perverted ways
That's what Catholics say.
to, oh, yeah, there you go.
So, oh, anyway, go ahead.
They're all the same, aren't they?
Yeah, I know. It's always that.
Oh,
Yeah, they're valid, but they're valid for like they just didn't know Jesus, and it's just
right.
like, but we
Ask
have the
them.
right form of Jesus. It's just like,
Ask one of these um scholar Mormons about Quetzalcoatl sometime. You
what's
will be
Quetzalcoatl?
appalled and astounded.
What's Quetzalcoatl again?
South American snake bird god thing.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. I think
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw. I think I saw an episode of Good Omens on Quetzalcoatl. I don't know. There's some. I watched some media about that fucking Aztec god. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a trip. I feel like ancient Aztecs were doing a lot of drugs. So
Well,
give some drugs.
who can
Listen,
blame
there's
them?
ayahuasca in South America. I'm just
I
saying.
mean, yeah. I mean, honestly,
Are you not going to
They
see
had
a snake
short,
bird
brutal
god
lives.
when you're tripping on peyote? Come on. Anywho.
So then the second one, or maybe
I'm
the first
listening to
one,
you. I'm just
like
going
I
to go
said,
grab another koi, but keep talking. I'm just going to, you know how this
sure.
goes. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah. So the other big shelf breaker moment, and I think this one was the real shelf breaker. I think that one was kind of a shelf cracker, and like I said, I can't remember which one came first, but still, this one was the big one. I had a friend over, and I mean, it was a very good friend. We had great conversations, and I was telling him why I still believed in a God. He was an atheist. I was still a theist at the time, and I was telling him why I believe in a God. And I was saying this and that and the other, and then late in the evening, after much verbal enjoyment, I suddenly burst out with, like, after kind of a silence of a good 30 minutes where we were just like chilling and watching the show. I'm like, I know it. Okay. I believe in God because it makes me feel better. And it just like flew out of my mouth all of a sudden. I believe in God because it makes me feel better. And it was not something that seemed to come from a logical sequence of my thoughts. It was just suddenly I realized. And when I said it out loud, I also realized that that's a really shitty reason to believe in anything.
Yeah.
And I just,
It's that Mulder, the X-Files. I want to believe.
right. Well, I don't. Not unless there's actual evidence.
Right. Well, that's the thing about what I mean, I did the same thing too. I wanted to believe that there was some kind of mystical collective unconsciousness, pick whatever woo shit you want. Because
Right.
the existential crisis was too much. And then
Oh,
once
yeah.
you process that, you're like, oh, nobody knows. Okay, I'm just the
Oh,
same as everybody else.
I wanted Mormonism to be true. I wanted it to be true so bad because it told me that if I were doing Mormonism right, my life would be a lot easier than it actually was. you know? Um,
Which is the funny part.
but this reminds me, actually, hold on. You were talking earlier. Oh, no, sorry. I lost it. ADHD. Go ahead.
It'll come back in 2 minutes, and then you'll be
It
like,
probably
"Hey,
will.
yeah, it's the ADHD way. It will circle back around."
We always do. I mean, everybody always does. I mean, on your show. Anyway.
It's just our way.
That's why I love your show. It is so random.
Oh God. I'm like, people are like, I don't know if I can talk about this for an hour and a half. I'm like, either you will or you won't. If we don't, I was like, listen, I go, if you don't talk about it for an hour and a half, we'll find something to talk about. And then sometimes and I said it, and it either be an hour and a half, or sometimes it turns into a 3-hour show because we just can't shut up. So it just depends. So
I have an inkling about which way this one's gonna turn.
It's probably, yeah.
We're kind of the same person.
We're the same. We were separated at birth.
We are. We're twinsies.
We're twinsies. 5 years apart in completely different parts of the country, but I'm sure
completely different religions and all of that. Right. But honestly,
the thing is, this is the funny part about I don't have religious trauma the same. You've heard me say this. It's not the same as my religion. I don't have family. My religion, because I left it in questioning, I'm having difficulties with my mom. I realized that, I'm not 30 years on, still worrying, even leaving religion and knowing it's fake, still with the fear of hell. That is not part of my existence. Mine was all because religion isn't affected, feminine, being a female and being queer, that's the messaging that I still have to like untangle, because society reinforces it. You leave a religion, like, and you just go, hey, this is a bunch of bullshit. That's one thing. But if society is enforcing a religious view that is toxic to the type of person that you are, then you're kind of like, well, now I just have to hear it all the fucking time because, people are sexist and, racist or homophobic or transphobic or whatever the fuck it is. And you're just like, God damn it. Like,
Well, that is exactly the reason why, when I was still dating men, cis straight men, I dated a ton of ex-Mormon men. And I realized after my divorce a couple of years ago, and I haven't really dated since then, but I realized after that there's a reason why I gravitated to ex-Mormon men. It's because for the most part, at least the ones I gravitated towards, I'm not saying all, but the ones I gravitated towards still acted like Mormon men. And I was raised and trained to be attracted to that.
so Skinner, you would say you did some operational conditioning. So, be a Skinner monster, by the way, tortured dogs. Still, that was his theory. Anyway,
But I mean, and that, honestly, but that's the reason why I have decided that for me, not because of anything to do necessarily with cis straight men as a whole, but for me, it is not healthy to date cis straight men.
I don't know, like for me personally, like I lived with my parents. I was with my ex-husband. Me and my ex-husband broke up, and then I'm with my current husband, and he's fantastic. So I mean, like,
no,
we're poly,
like I said,
so I've dated, yeah. But that makes
not
sense
to
though, 'cause
do
the
with
fact that this particular
straight
brand
men
of
as a whole.
man, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
No, it
like
really
particular brand of
isn't
man,
about them. It's about me. It's the ones I pick.
right? Because your brain is like, this is the pattern that I know.
Exactly.
Like, I did marry someone kind of similar to my dad. Like, they're both like bigger men, green thumbs.
But you married the
Like,
good parts of
love
your
the
dad.
fuck out of their, like, my dad loved the fuck out of my mom. He's a little bit sexist, but because that was just his time. But he loved the fuck out of my mom. It's the same. Like, I kind of married my father, and in a not gross way, like in a pattern way. Like, these are the traits that make me feel safe, and I'm attracted to those traits. Right.
If I can get a relationship like my parents' relationship,
Mhm.
I will count myself insanely lucky. They were best friends. There is no one in the world they would have rather spent time with than each other for basically since the moment they met. And they had an amazing relationship. Obviously, not without its problems, obviously. And so, I was given a really good example of what an LDS guy can be like. But unfortunately, somehow the traits that made it into my psychosexual, situation
Existence.
were the ones that were less healthy. Not the communication, not the support, not the adoration my father showed my mother, but just the subjugation.
That's interesting. That, like, I'm sorry. It's just interesting that your parents, like, because you usually hear what people that come from religious backgrounds that, like, their parents were kind of fucked.
No, my parents
and like
are
your
amazing.
parents, like, oh, well, that's true. Like, my parents, like, I grew up like Catholic, and like my parents, like, were married for 61 years before 62, almost 62 years before my dad died. So it's one of those things that you're like, wow, that's that's crazy. And like, and my dad loved my mom, loved her.
Yeah, my dad did my mom too.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that, like, I'm like, damn.
No, he would gladly, if if she told him, in a serious tone of voice, I need you to cut your arm off for me, he would have been okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here you go.
Right.
And she the same for him.
Probably go, why? Then be
well,
like,
sure, because they're both very smart people, but
it's not blind love, but that's like, but like, and so what's your, so like when you were questioning, you decide like this is a bunch of like hoo-ha, how was that leaving the church for you?
Well, that was harder.
Mhm.
I was I was like a rebellious kid and a weird kid and from early on, so it's not like it was one day I suddenly said I'm not interested in this anymore. It was more like, I mean, even when I was just getting into where kids get independent, 11, 12, I was already pulling away from the religion. So this was not a surprise to my parents when I continued to pull away. But they decided to chalk it all up to my mental illnesses. Yeah, they decided that this was a factor of my depression and my anxiety, and that if they got those properly treated, which another very good thing about my parents, they got me into mental health care early. And I can never, I mean,
My parents did too.
yeah. So, but they got me into mental health care because I think they were thinking it would fix me into the sort of person they
Wanted.
expected.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
better word.
The sort of daughter they thought about when I was a tiny baby. And that's not quite how it worked, but they also saw that it helped me in other ways. So it's not like they ever took it away either. No. My parents, I'm really grateful to my parents. They
Good.
really truly did the best they could. And since I'm only doing the best I can't fault them for it.
Yeah, like I that's how I felt. Like, cause my parents are from an older. My mom's 94. like
Oh,
like my
oh
parents,
goodness.
yeah. So my parents are old.
Yeah, no, my
And
parents,
my dad
my
passed away when he was
mom's
92. Like he had a good run. So,
yeah, my
like,
mom's in her 80s. My dad passed in 2015 and he was he 70? He was born in 45 and my mom was born in 46. So like super boomers.
yeah. So I cut them some slack, not for everything, but I do cut them a little
Right.
bit of slack in some ways because like things are complicated. That's right, because I'm complicated. Everybody is. So but there's some things that I'm like, yeah, you could have done better. Like it's a big spec. But
Just saying your parents could have done better about things doesn't mean you blame them for not being able to
no,
do
I'm like, my
it.
parents did the best they could, and there's some things that I
Yeah.
will hold them accountable for, and there are things that I won't.
Yes,
It's a bad.
exactly.
But when you look back on that and go, like, at least my parents did the best they could. My mom, like, when I was going through like all my trauma shit, like, got me into therapy. When I was saying, it's just why, like, that's why I don't think I'm like as fucked up as I could have been. Like, and I also
Same.
like, I have a therapist. I've been going to a therapy. I've been going to therapy on and off all my life, but I've had a therapist consistently for 2 years now, and it's doing wonders for me because I'm like, just once a week, I just get to verbally vomit on this woman, and then she gives me advice, and then we have conversations, and it's great. Like, I'm like, everybody should have this. It's good maintenance for someone that has depression and generalized anxiety disorder and ADHD and going through perimenopause. I'm a mess right now. So I'm so much fun.
You are so much fun. That is what you are. You are so much fun. You are
This is what all
so
that
much
therapy
fun.
did. This is what happened.
You know what? I'm just going to say right here, you never have the slightest trouble getting these like huge names on your show because everybody loves you.
I know. Like, well, to be fair, I've been like, I'll blame recovering from religion for that, because I
Yes.
started getting involved with RFR and started helping produce their show, and then I started co-hosting, and then I was just like, I'm just going to start DMing people, and that's how I know everybody. I just feel like, hey, I'm like, I told myself this week, because Aaron knows who I am, and I'm like, I gotta get Aaron on my show. So I was just gonna DM him, like, all right, you wanna come on my show? Because I met him through recovering from religion. I met everybody either through the ACA or recovering from religion. Either way, like, or I know someone that you know, one or the other. So like, so whenever somebody's recommending, I'm always like, so-and-so told me I should, like, I reached out to Coleman because he was on Seth's show, and he's going to be here talking about cults on Thursday. And that was only because
I'm catching that one.
Oh, okay. So he's going to talk. Okay. Sidebar to promote this show, but he's doing a video on the Twins Flame cult. This is a Do you know what the Twin Flames cult is?
I do.
I got kicked off their Reddit because I was being me. I got kicked off because I sent resources for recovering from religion and some other, like, I think I sent another, like, because they're and I like some queer like, I think I sent like to like the Trevor Project and like Mermaids, like some resources, and they didn't like that because I was trying to like be like, hey, I mean, you shouldn't belong to this group. So he's doing a video on cults and I got so excited when we talked about the Twin Flames. I was like, oh my God, we're talking about cults. Because that cult, I was telling my trans roommate, I was like, listen, I go, this cult is wow. Wow.
No, it's so super weird. Like the leader was just like saying, no, you're gay now.
Yeah, not only are you gay, but you have to transition. You have to be this new gender, and it's still heteronormative, which I'm like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Yuck.
It's wild. And like, I
this reminds me. Okay, I just got reminded of what I had forgotten earlier. Okay, so what I was going to say. Yeah, no, we come back eventually. I think that there is like, I was never able to conform enough to get the universal acceptance, you know? Like,
yeah.
So, you know, and then the rejection, like the put downs when I didn't conform properly were so much bad for me. So maybe it's just that my rejection sensitivity dysphoria situation is worse than maybe some other people's. I don't know. It's not the Pain Olympics, so I'm not gonna say, but
you are the same person. Because
I knew that was the reason I was in love with you.
I know. Because, well, that's the thing. Like, when you have perceived rejection dysphoria, this is a trait amongst like ADHD and other neurodivergent people. ADHD people are hyper aware of how we are, and we know that our behavior, especially when we're younger, is not acceptable. And also when it manifests in women, it's usually the inattentive type. We tend to space out, daydream, and because of that, when you're in a situation where you have to be like focused, you feel uncomfortable. You feel like there's this sort of script that you didn't get. Like, there's a script that you were supposed to follow, but you didn't get the script in your hand, and you're like, I don't know. And then add if you're queer, and add if you're skeptical. And everybody's telling you that you have to like conform. And then every time you try, you're still like you just can't do it. Like you can't do it convincingly enough. Like I was so like, listen, I'm like, I know you want me to be this perfect little Catholic girl, but like I like women, and I just don't wanna do it. And also with ADHD people, like it's very hard to get us to commit if we are not like unless we love it and we become hyper focused on it, we will just be like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. It's too. I'm bored now.
Yeah, no. Like, oh, boredom. Bane of my existence.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of like I know a lot of what's really funny. Like I know a lot of autistic people that never bought religion ever. They were just like, this is fucking stupid, because the logical part of their brains, for certain autistic people, it will go, this doesn't make sense at all.
I truly think unless it happens that the religion becomes their main hyper focus, most neurodivergent people aren't going to vibe, especially with high demand religions.
Oh my
God, they require a lot of consistency, which is
terrible. Like, listen, I have to remind myself, like, for this fucking podcast, to make sure to like, hey, oh my God, like today I was like, oh my God, I did not do the thumbnail, and I usually try to do 2 days ahead. So I was like, fuck. Okay, that's my brand.
Stop being embarrassed because I'm going to tell you a secret. I wasn't going to tell you. In my calendar, we were doing this on July 16th. July 16th. Oh. On my calendar, we were doing this on July 16th. So when you texted me this morning and you're like, I need a thumbnail and a topic, I'm like, oh, she is on the ball. Getting ready a whole month early. And then you sent me the link and you're like, here's the link for the night. And I suddenly realized, oh, she.
That's awesome. Oh, good. Because we were just talking about you being on Saturday, and I completely well, okay, to be fair, on Saturday I was drinking, and then yesterday I started playing Blueprints.
I think that's what we both failed on Saturday, because
we both failed that. And then I started playing Blueprints all day yesterday. I played that game for like 8 hours yesterday. I made so much progress. I'm so proud of myself. and then I was like, oh fuck.
I am so sorry.
I got a DM tomorrow morning when I get to work.
I actually would have gotten you this information sooner if I had not put it in my calendar when we first talked about it.
It's my show. It's my show. I should know my schedule better than you do. Thank you very much. So like today I was like, okay, Coleman's on Thursday. So I DM'd him, and then I was like, okay, I'm like, I got to start playing in my Pride panel, which you're more than welcome to come to on Sunday night.
I'd love to, yes.
Ben's going to be here. I think Bree's going to be here. Barton's going to be here. So, and I'll probably get a couple other queer motherfuckers to join us. So, I'll just bug some people.
Middle-aged woman bladder.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. So, yeah, that's that same thing that happens to me when I'm on the show, is that, oh my God, I'm promoting stuff. I have to go to the bathroom. But I'm going to say, like, I could probably get a couple other people to do the show. So I'm going to have a Pride panel on Sunday. Because it's Pride Month, and I'm part of Pride. So I am a queer person. So I felt like it was appropriate. So, I think for next year, like I'm going to have Coleman on for Juneteenth. And I think next year I'm going to be a little bit more conscious of that, for next year. I'm trying to, make sure that, the content, and when we're celebrating certain groups throughout the year, that I am, going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm inclusive. But Mikey Famine from NonSequitur Atheist will be here next week. I might as well sit here and promote my shit while I'm waiting for Miss NonSequitur to come back. So let me pull up my calendar for all of you that might watch this in the future. Okay, so that is my current calendar for my normal life calendar. Okay, so Coleman's going to be here this coming Thursday. Pride panel will be 6 p.m. Eastern on the 22nd. I have Mikey Famine on the 26th, so that's a week from Thursday, and then I'm going to have us back. So on August 3rd. So I mean July 3rd. Oh my goodness! If you wanna be on the show, you know someone that does, please have them email me here, or if we're already friends on some kind of social media, just bug me. So one or the other, you can do the thing and come watch the show and stuff. I'm actually very excited for the show that I'm going to be doing with Coleman, because like cults are fascinating, guys. Like I have a thing for cults. Like I just find, because like I grew up religious, obviously, but like I don't know if it's thinking about being Catholic or like living in a somewhat skeptical household, because my dad was like very like science oriented, and my mom, like was like Catholic, but like she just wanted us to grow up to be like moral, like good people, like doing like, feeling like she was teaching us values through religion, which is valid. I totally get that. Didn't really stick, obviously, but I can understand where they're coming from. This, like, when I hear like Owen talk about being Jehovah's Witness or like the Mormons or like Twin Flames things, guys, you have to watch that Amazon. It's either on Amazon or Netflix. It's so fucking weird. It is. It's a new age woo cult. They convince people to transition, whether they're trans or not. It is a thing, and gross and terrible. But an online cult, which is also something that is worrying living in the internet age, because online cults are very big right now. And I don't think they're ever going to go away, because like, I don't think cults are ever going to go away, because people are motivated by a whole bunch of different reasons for the things that they get into. But we can do the work to make sure people don't fall into cults. It'd probably be a good thing. I'm just killing time. So
I'm back.
Oh my god, you got a lizard.
I do. This is my baby. She's shedding right now, which is why her head is so much lighter than her body. But
what's her name?
Her name is Princess Buttercup Dragon.
Hi. Oh, I love a bearded dragon. I love Princess Buttercup. My snake is Loki's stretching out. He's having a good time. I might bring in the kitten. The new kitten.
She was knocking on the door as I was passing, and so she was telling her mommy that she needed cuddles.
Like, I want attention.
Yeah, mommy.
How long have you had her?
Cuddle. About a year. She's 18 months old, so I guess a little more than a year. I guess probably closer to, because I got her when she was 4 months old, so about a year and 2 months or so. Not too long, but she is fully grown. Look at this cute little leg.
I know I know he's adorable.
Bearded dragons are just they're the snuggliest.
We had one for a hot minute, because my son wanted one, and they're cool. But we were like, hey, if you want, he was just not the age for a lizard. But we tried it.
Lizards are not easy.
And I'm like, you have to handle him. You have to touch him. He has to get used to your scent, and he has to get used to being handled. And he was small, but my son was like 11 or 12 at the time, and he just wasn't there yet. So we're like, you can't have a lizard. They're cool.
Yeah.
Like we handle our snakes, so Loki doesn't like bite my face. So that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I get you entirely. Me and my oldest had a whole probably year to be good fish people, and it did not work. And in the
I
end, we were just like,
tried.
it's not.
I tried.
It's
I
not very
killed 3
nice to keep
betas in
killing
2
fish this
months. Like,
way.
I suck.
Right? No, same. I could not keep those things alive. It's like flowers. I don't plant flowers because I can't keep them alive.
Well, we have hyacinths that grow around the perimeter of our home. They
Oh,
were just
hyacinths
planted
are
here when we bought
beautiful.
the house, and they just grow. And I'm just like, you do your job.
That's my kind of
Like my
plant.
orchids, like I love orchids. You get me an orchid and you just stick it outside. It'll grow. Don't touch it. Just leave it in a
That's the thing, though.
spot
Orchids are generally considered to be like more difficult plants
to get them to grow, because the cultivation of them is difficult. But once you get them bloomed, they have a cycle. And if you put them, like I live in Florida, which is ideal, a subtropic is a great ideal temperature for an orchid because it's the right temperature. And you just put them in a semi-shady spot and they will grow. I don't touch them. Every year they come back. Just leave them outside. They do their job.
So cool.
And they're my favorites. And my husband's got me several. So they exist in my yard, and then they grow, and then they die, and then they grow. And they bloom every year, and I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. And then I get excited, and then they die. So, like, I will keep a pet alive and a cat. And after that,
yeah, I'm apparently I'm good at dogs, and apparently I'm good at lizards.
You're good at the lizard.
Yeah. Oh, look at the fatty. Look at her. She had a big lunch earlier this morning.
Okay.
Because I got some fresh butternut squash, which is her favorite.
I love butternut squash.
So she nommed down on it. And look at her chubby little belly.
She's so chubby. Like our Loki's our boa. We thought Loki was male, and then my friend came over last weekend and checked out the genitals and so it might be a female, but Loki's gender fluid. So we just decided, they were like, we don't know.
The name is perfect.
So
honestly,
well, I really wanted to name them the snake that goes around the world. It's a very long name in Norse, and I was no, it's not that. Ouroboros is the stinky Neosone tail. There's a snake that circles the world in Norse mythology that I can't remember the name right now.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to look it up. I'm curious now.
Snake in Norse. Okay, hold on.
ADHD brain must know.
Jorgen, it's Jormungandr. Jormungandr, also known as the Midgard serpent or world serpent. So this is the serpent that circles the world. Okay, and there's a whole bunch of minutes of text in it, and that was too many syllables to have for that snake. So we decided, I'm like, Loki's associated with snakes, we'll just call him Loki. And then that's how we got his name, her name.
And
their name.
I mean,
I don't know.
It really,
I'm from the opinion
he fooled
animals don't have genders.
Right. And the fact that he fooled you, he's like, no, I'm a dude. I'm so super dude.
I'm a girl.
And then they look at the genitals and they're like, they might not be a total dude.
I was
and they're like, whatever.
So it's appropriate.
That's very low.
So yeah, they're Loki. So it's very appropriate, and they're very pretty. So I love my snake. I love reptiles. I don't do frogs because frogs give me the EBGBs so bad. I'm weird that way. I will hold a snake, no problem. But you get me your fucking frog, and I'm like, no, absolutely not.
I like when I see frogs and toads outside, I pick them up, and they always poop in my hand, but I can't help it. I love them so much. So
yeah, that's one
thing we're not.
That's how I know. That's how we're not the same person. I have a phobia of frogs. Is it rational? No. Is it associated with childhood trauma? Yes. My brain has associated these things with things that want to hop all over me. I just can't.
Cave crickets, you know, those ones that kind of look like spiders?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. I don't have any problem with regular crickets because I feed them to her all the time.
Well,
But
thank you,
cave
Dark Force.
crickets, oh my goodness, they freak me out. Oh,
You're-
Dark Wolf
So,
Games,
yeah.
Jormungandr means
Yeah,
Brittany.
that's the name of the world serpent.
Yeah,
So,
I'm a
it's
great
like
beast.
I love me some Norse mythology. It
Me
is
too. Yeah.
it's very it is it's funny.
I'm fond of mythology in general, especially the ones
I love
that, you know,
mythology.
actually
Oh, I like this is the
admit
whole thing
that they're
about.
mythology.
Well, and yeah, they'll tell you it's myth. They'll say hail old and also God don't exist. They'll do it in the same breath. like so.
It's like I'm cool with that. I like the stories. I like the uh what's the word? Moral truths imparted by the
Right.
stories. I
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
idea, but I'm not gonna believe that donkeys and snakes talk. I'm just not.
Well, this is like whenever like I'm having like a desperation moment, I'm like, listen, I'm like, God, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Zeus, Thor, Athena, India, the five spaghetti monster. I don't know who's paying attention. Like I
Yeah.
need help. like I
Yeah.
just go Gandalf. Like
Actually,
Shira.
last
Somebody
last
let me
fall,
some power.
last fall I fell down my front steps because they were wet and I sprained my ankle so badly that it is actually still not.
Very true.
This was last last early September. So it's still
Mhm.
not quite right. That's how badly I sprained my ankle. And I was I was actually priding myself before the ambulance came. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not asking God to help me. I'm a real atheist.
I've hit the threshold. I'm a real
I'm a real atheist now. I'm in
I'm a big boy
insane amounts of pain.
now. It's one of those things though, like when it comes to like belief is that people like if you are like okay I don't curse gods when I just swear a lot when I hurt myself I but I swear a lot anyway so does it's just it's just in an angrier tone so but like we were talking about I was talking about like magical thinking and how and also too you're trained so like if you're in moments of that's what they say like no atheists and foxholes shit like
Right.
I'm like if you are trained to pray as a form of reducing anxiety
Oh,
if you will
absolutely.
slip back into that and even if you're an atheist and you know it's all bullshit your emotional brain doesn't really care that you know it's all bullshit your emotional brain is going to do in what it does in moments of
Yeah.
high stress and if the coping mechanism was to pray it doesn't mean you're suddenly not atheist anymore it's
Oh,
that you're doing the thing that
absolutely.
brings you comfort.
No, no, no. And that wasn't what I was trying to say at all.
Oh, okay.
Because there have been so many
Oh, I got
times
deep
in my
then I'm
life
sorry.
that I have been in terrible pain and I have been like, oh, if there's a God, please, please, please,
Yeah,
please, please,
yeah.
please, please. You know. And probably even since then it's happened. But I remember at the time thinking to myself, oh, I'm not calling on God. That's kind of cool.
Right.
It was like
No, and I
it was like the
appreciate that.
one
Like
positive part of the whole situation.
I didn't like I was in incredible pain, but I didn't ask God for help. Like,
Exactly. It's like, woo.
woo. It's one like because I can't remember the last time I prayed. I'm trying to think. Oh, you know, I think it's a good thing I can't remember because like other than I'm trying like other than doing like a pagan ritual, like I haven't actually got down my knees and prayed probably since I was like 20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think during that investigating time where I was really putting my all into it. That was in my, I think it was 19 to 21 thereabouts. I don't think I have formally prayed since then, but yes, like when I've been in pain, and I'll tell you what, when I had my stillborn, well, I mean, like, it was a little bit complicated because they were able to revive her, and they were able to get her body working, but she didn't have anything going on.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm not even that ashamed to admit that I prayed my butt off.
Oh yeah. I would I don't think that
I
I don't think
promised
there's a
I
person
would
that,
be
like,
the
even religious or not, like, you're just that moments of desperation when you're just pleading, you're it doesn't really matter if you're a believer or not. That is a human, that is a very human thing to do, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And I think there's not enough. I wish like, I'm sorry, there's a lot of atheist assholes out there. And the fact that if you can go like, well, why would you pray for, I'm like, dude, like, don't be snarky. like
Because
like don't be a
for
snarky butthead. like people are complicated. Like, and
for the
you're gonna
same
do things in the moments of
reason
desperation that when your rational brain will not do.
for the same reason that you might beg a cop to not give you a ticket. You know, you don't actually think they're not going to give you a ticket, but you're going to try anything because you want to get out of the current situation.
Right.
Sorry, I may have been looking at too many body cam videos lately. They're fascinating
Well,
though.
yeah. Oh, there. My favorites are body cam and also sovereign citizenship people. Like,
Mm,
they're my favorite. I'm like,
I
oh,
love me some
even if
sovereign
someone
citizenship. They are so
like I'm
insane.
like,
I love
oh,
them.
and it's usually for some bullshit, like they don't want to pay like child support or like
Right.
taxes or whatever. And I'm like, I don't recognize your authority. And it's like, okay, you still have to drive with the license. And they're like, no, because, and it's usually some convoluted, like, so many steps I can't keep track kind of thing.
Oh yeah, and they always have
I
like a
love the
sheaf of
ones,
paper that they hand to the cops that they're expecting. Like, here, read this. This proves my points.
and which is the thing about sovereign citizenship is that you don't, if you have to present an officer, or like if you're in court, and it's like, hey, you were supposed to pay this fine and you never paid it, so now we're here. And they try to get the judge to say like, well, I don't recognize your authority, and they give like these convoluted answers. It's like, well, then you're not going to win, because usually the simplest thing is the closest to the truth. And it's just like, you didn't want to pay it, and they bury people in paperwork and bureaucracy bullshit. Like, it's a real bureaucracy bullshit.
Yeah, no, that is truly what it is. They are trying to get the cops and the courts to just figure you're too much effort to deal with.
Right.
Yeah. So,
So
which I
it was funny
mean,
because like
a little
before,
base, a little,
it's a little bit
a little bit.
well, like this was the thing though, like a few years ago, which I didn't like, when it started like circulating online, and it came up as a recommendation. So I watched like the first like few minutes, and I said something to my husband about it. He goes, oh, no. He's like, let me explain something to you, because he went to school for legal shit. And then he was like, oh, he's like, let me explain why they're wrong. And then that was it. I had one conversation to go, no, this is why they're wrong. And I was like, that makes sense. But like, for like, I think that like, I understand that, like, government is it's there's some bullshit. Like, I understand that.
Yeah.
But also at the same
There
time,
is.
like, the government is also making sure, like, I have roads to drive down, like, and sidewalks, and also, like, the fire department will show up, and also, like, hey,
Exactly.
this is why a terrorist is not taking a piss in your backyard. You know, like, there's reasons.
Is it so
Sorry,
their whole
sorry,
thing
that was a
about
side
not
tangent.
traveling on roads, they're not they're not driving, they're traveling or something like that.
Something, yeah,
Like,
traveling, they're not driving, or and then it's like when you talk to a theist and you talk to them like, what is real? And then and they want to redefine the word real. I'm like, no.
like, well, it
No, let's
depends on
not
what you mean
redefine
by
the word
real.
Well, I'm like, what's real? You know, or they say like, well, this gets a special exception because I'm using this word. And I'm like, what's that mean? Please explain. And if you can't explain it to me in like 2 sentences, I'm done. And then the thing is, though, like, they think I get I'm being such a narcissist to think that I could, like, when, like, I naturally don't trust the police, but also I'm
Which
educated.
is just kind of wise in general.
Yeah,
I mean,
but the other, like, I went as in I had a but also I also know when, like, you know, how I'm being treated. Yeah, commuting or they are not commuting or driving, they're traveling because their travel is not for commerce. What the
that's
fuck does
right.
that
Yes.
mean?
Ugh.
What does that mean? Like, that whole sentence, like, it makes no sense.
And then they tried to do maritime laws, you know, and be all like, "Oh, these maritime laws
Motherfucker, you're in a
apply
car.
on real life."
Like, don't do this whole you know, Ron Hubbard shit where he, like, got a boat, like, was on the boat because L. Ron Hubbard didn't want to pay taxes, and also he also owed a bunch of money because he did some tax fraud and some child support shit, and so he got a boat.
Shocking.
And he took the boat and then he put it offshore
international waters, right?
International miles. I'm like, you're in a car. Like, what? Where's the water? Did you cross a bridge? like what are you talking about? That's why I find this whole thing about, like, I don't know why we got on that tangent. It's the 80s.
Oh, I don't even know. I mean,
I don't know how we got there.
The great thing about your show, you never know where it's gonna go.
I don't know how we got sovereign citizens, but, like, I just find the whole thing about, like, this convoluted logic that if you think about it for 5 seconds, you're like, oh, I know, I can't remember. I was trying to think how we got here, and I cannot remember. And I would blame it on the fact that I'm a little high, but I don't think that's the reason.
Lucky.
Okay, so the universal commercial or it's often quoted, so they reclaim their identity from the forced government pseudo identity. Oh yeah, isn't that the Social Security thing?
That's the whole Mr. whatever. I don't claim that title or what. Oh god, it's so entertaining.
Okay, fine, Reggie, like, or Reginald. What do you want me to call you?
That's my government name.
Like, okay, well, you didn't change it, so let's go. Like, how do we identify you?
Oh gosh.
Oh, it stems from the Social Security thing. That's what I thought. Because, like, that was the first thing I heard was, like, since the government is a corporation, they're assigning you a Social Security number, which means that you are part of a corporation. But if you deny that you're part of that corporation, somehow you can get out of legal shit. I don't know how that works, because I'm just like, are you but I'm like, but the thing is, though, is like, you're benefiting from the government by being part of the
right.
government.
I mean, they're still taking part in all of the resources. In fact, most of them, like, you see on these shows all the time that they're like, aren't you, like, on Medicaid?
Right.
Like, no, that doesn't count.
Not to poo-poo people on Medicaid, but it's just like, at the same time, and like, if you're benefiting from the system in any way, like, you've submitted paperwork for a government grant to get a discount on your mortgage. You are benefiting from government.
And
So
and
don't
that's
give me
not
this,
this. I mean, I'm
the
not
not commercial
saying that.
identity of Bob. Bob.
I mean, like,
It's
I
so
get where
like,
they're
I'm sorry,
coming
I don't know how
from
it got
in a
here, but
way,
like they're so weird.
but
Like
they're
these people
so
are so
dumb.
weird.
They're just
They're
so
so dumb. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, if you just think, I'm like, you're a narcissistic asshole that this is not, you want the benefits of being part of the government, but none of the consequences.
True. No, that's exactly what they want.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, like that's hypocrisy. Because no one's above the law. Sorry. Like, and do I think some laws are unfair? Yes, but you arguing with like a beat cop, on the side of the road, the fact that you're driving around without a taillight and your license has been expired for 6 months. Like, I'm sorry, man. like you're, even if I agree with you with the bureaucracy of the government, I still at the same time I'm like, man, like there's reasons why we have laws. Like,
Buttercup is fitting to escape.
see. And I think that's the whole, like, I think this kind of relates into like the religious discussion, because there's like these ideas that you get certain exceptions, like,
Right.
like sovereign citizenships, they feel like they have the special, like, convoluted, like, logic jumping thinking that can get them above like the bureaucracy of the government. Okay.
Right.
Same with religion. You're kind of doing the same
Yes.
thing. You're just, because this is an authority, and because I either I have authority over the system, or the person that's in charge of the authority is aligned with me, so I don't have to listen to your rules.
And it's like, I mean, okay, if we're gonna go back to LDS, they are like the ultimate with special exceptions. It's like they think they are just the most special exception. I mean, they literally think that, well, I suppose all religions think that they're the ones that have it right and stuff, but it's just, they're just so good at, I don't know, they're just so good at making the LDS religion your entire life, like putting it in every single aspect of your life.
Yep.
So you don't have room for anything else.
Yeah, well, and I think that's a little bit different than Catholics. Like, you're not in the Catholic religion, you're not forced to like go to like chapel every day. You're not forced to go out and proselytize. Like the Catholic Church is, you don't really need to know that. They're very popular. Like, there's certain things with it that, yeah, on the bike model, if you're looking at the bike model, you can see some things with certain religions versus others. Like, the Catholic religion, I just consider a religion. Like LDS, Jehovah's Witnesses, those are cults. This is behavioral, emotional,
or at least much closer to cult.
Much closer to cult.
There's a spectrum, and LDS Jehovah Witnesses are here. And then, like,
right, it's kind of like
Flames is a little further down.
We're a little more like, because there's certain degrees of
right, exactly.
but like for example, if like I left the Catholic Church, nobody noticed. Where if you stop going to chapel, or you start, stop going to temple, people are going to notice, and you're probably going to get a phone call.
Oh yeah. I mean, they still, to this day, they come to my door. And I mean, it's not like I haven't asked them to stop.
Jesus, man.
Well, I promised my mother I would not remove my name from the records, because she really, really, really doesn't want me to. And I'm kind of the opinion, like, it doesn't matter that much. I
I
don't
have
really
I had
care
both
so
my kids
much.
baptized because my mom really wanted it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my stillborn was blessed in the hospital because everybody wanted her to be, and I'm like, it's not like it matters. I will not feel held to that commitment after, which hopefully won't be for another 20, 30 years. But after my mom,
Let's go for
I don't
mortal
even want to
coil.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, she's like my best friend. I love her so much,
I love my mom
and
too.
I don't even
So
want it.
like
But
I love my mom. Like my
I love
mom's
my
the
mom
best
so
mom.
much. My
Yeah.
mom's the best mom.
So
So yeah,
no, I have
it's
the best
okay.
mom.
You're allowed to be wrong. I don't mind.
That's fine. You can have that opinion, but I don't agree. But I hate you. No,
Yeah.
just
No.
kidding. No,
Okay.
but like this is the thing about like the whole thing about like like that's why parents are complicated. Everything's complicated, but also like at the same time,
Oh,
like I left the
sorry.
church.
One
My parents
moment.
know.
One moment.
eh, Um, so like the fact that I was like, okay, like mm, like with my like I love my parents very, very much and they're wonderful people. But also at the same time, like when we're talking about cults versus like religion, like there's a gradient.
Oh,
Um
absolutely. It is
and like
definitely a
it,
spectrum.
it is a spectrum. Like the Catholic Church has issues, but like I think and I also think this kind of relates to because there are very extreme Catholics. My brother wanted to be a monk. That was the
I
thing.
have met some very extreme Catholics in my time.
Yeah, and then there's more like my family was like a little more casual Catholic. Like I went to CCD, I did all the rituals.
Well, and
Um
and it's the same with the LDS. Like my family, I didn't realize this until I was an adult, but my family was extremely devout, and not
mhm.
every Mormon is like that. Which put another crack in my shelf actually early on, but
So, when did you how are you when you like completely your left? You're like, I'm done. I'm not setting foot in temple again. I'm out.
um
It's temple,
it
right?
was
It's a
in my
temple.
early 20s. It was before I had my older child. So I was
Okay.
probably 25 or 6. And it was, oh my gosh, no, I remember exactly what it was. It was when the Mormons um went out of their way to make sure that gay marriage wouldn't pass in California. They like did huge campaigning, lots of underground stuff, put lots of money into making sure that gay marriage would not.
Nancy's here. My internet wife's here. I got your titty, girl. Got your fucking
Hi, Nancy. Love you.
titty. Internet wife's here.
But
She sent me a titty in the mail. I'm so happy. I love this thing.
I know I love your
I
booty.
love my titty. I like that I like squeeze nipple do this. I love it so much.
Oh my gosh. You are turning me on right now. Do
I
that
know,
thing,
so turned on. I'm
girl.
so my basement is so flooded right now. Anyway, go back to your story. I'm sorry.
But yeah, it was when they really just went all the way out of their way to make sure that people who are in love with each other couldn't get married. And I was just like,
Right.
no, no, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, like I mean, like I left because priests were gross. So back, when that all came to light, and I like my diocese was connected with the Boston Mass Church, with that bishop.
Mm,
So it was a little too close to home. So
right.
I was like, no, I'm done. I'm going to leave now.
Well, and the thing is even for a long time after, I kind of considered LDS to be like the least of the evils. I mean, like, it was still bad, but you know, if you had to have a religion, it was probably one that was okay to have, you know? And then it's only been in more recent years when I started getting into ex-Mormon content online that I realized how much I didn't know about the religion I grew up in.
Oh yeah, that's the thing about when you leave.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Holy, because like it wasn't just the sex abuse. Like I started looking into the Catholic Church Association with, like, you know, the bad people that did bad things in the 1940s in Germany. Those people, like,
Well, and there's
racists and destroying indigenous populations, and on it goes. And you're just
and
like,
all of that stuff can go for Mormons too, is the thing.
yeah.
I mean, every single one of those things goes for Mormons too. And you know, I read the what's it called, the letter. It is, oh, I'm totally blanking on the name. The CES letter. The CES letter, which was a letter, an open letter written to in the church from a very intellectual LDS person who was just finding all these things, all these things that made no sense and weren't right and were bad. I mean, it's been a long time since I've read it, so I'm like missing all the details. But the CES letter really opened a lot of people's eyes. It's kind of a huge thing. And then I started, like I said, getting into ex-Mormon content online, and I did that for a few years. She's shedding on her face.
Oh.
Yeah, she's had her face shed. Come here, baby. Come here. Oh, there we go. Oh, this will be so much more comfortable for you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. I have animals. Go ahead.
And that really opened a lot of people's eyes. Just this intellectual take on so many things that were just wrong. I mean, like, not even like morally wrong, but just
husband brought me snack.
Intellectually wrong. And you know, then I never heard that Joseph Smith, that the 14-year-old Joseph Smith married. Like, I was always told that he married women whose husbands had died and he wanted to take care of them. What's the Mormon letters like? Hold on, I'm missing. No, the CES letter specifically. Here, let me I'm gonna drop a link in the chat for the CES letter because it's really, really good. This is cesletter.org. And it is just so worth the read if you're interested in LDS at all. Actually, I'm not sure that I can send a link. Did that come up?
Oh, I didn't have my microphone on. If you put it in the YouTube chat, it won't come up. If you put it in the Streamlabs, it won't. So.
Oh, okay. So I put it in the YouTube chat. So.
Okay.
I'm
sorry.
Anyway,
my husband brought me a snack. So.
I know.
And I also have a middle-aged bladder, so I'll be right back.
Want to be sister wives? Because your husband seems pretty neat. I'd be willing to share.
He is the best husband of all the husbands. He is a big old sweet potato. He would probably be like, yeah, sure. So, like Nancy, we're gonna have a commune of wives.
Oh yeah, well that's okay. I would totally be willing to share with Nancy too. I would 100% be willing to share with Nancy too.
Yeah, like listen, it is going to be a thing. It's just going to be a harem of internet wives. So
all right, sounds good. Yeah,
keep talking. Talk about this. I will talk
about things. So the CES letter was really great, and it opened a lot of people's eyes to some of the things that none of us were ever. I mean, we were actively discouraged to seek sources that were non-LDS published sources. Which, I mean, I know it's not that uncommon, but it's so obvious looking back on it. I mean, like how do you hear, don't look at other sources except for ours and be all like, oh, well, this seems legit. It's just, I don't know. But we all did. Even I did for a certain amount of time. She is so freaking cute. I can't even get over her. Buttercup Dragon, for anyone who missed the earlier introduction.
Yeah, I'm back.
Named after, of course, Wesley's Buttercup. Hi, sweetheart.
He's so cute.
I ran out of things to talk about, so I started talking about my dragon again.
Fine. So, okay, well, that just, what you're describing is just common. Like, it's the same with like Scientology. Like, don't look up anything else. And like back in the day, that was hi Maya. So back in the day, just saying that back in the day, you couldn't like just go to your computer and look up criticisms about your religion ever. Like it was all gatekeeping. And even still, like you can still believe in God, which I don't like. I'm wishy-washy on that. Like it's complicated, but you should be able to criticize a structure like made up of people. Because people can be assholes and people are selfish and people are self-motivated and people will use certain systems to oppress other certain types of people. And then, so this way they can have all the power and money. Because as my friend Cynthia says, everything you were ever told within any sort of system was whatever the capitalists came up with that day because they wanted more power and money.
Excellent Men in Black quote. A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So I don't like to be like, this is the thing. Like, I'm very weird about the human race, guys. Like, I'm very weird about it. I'm always like, wow, we're so great. Also, we suck all the time. Like, I suck. Everybody else suck. Like, I'm always over here going like, wow, I could be more, I could be better. But suck.
Oh my God. My stupid brain is convinced that I need to be on high alert 24/7. It's like,
I know, thank you, anxiety.
No.
Thank you, evolution, for a minute.
Brain, calm down. You don't need to be that way. Brain says, yes, I do.
Faith Alone, that's a good song. Faith Alone is a really great bad religion song, Mikey. So good choice. But like, this is the thing about like, when you're looking at religion from Maya, you got to come on my show and we're gonna plan anyway. Like this thing about like religion, it's just like it I understand why it did what it did in the past. Like I get that we didn't have science. The world, though, I'm pretty sure we probably had atheists. Like, so,
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, like,
yeah, like,
you can read about them. You can,
right.
you read personal journals, and not everybody really truly believed, but the culture was such that not behaving as if you believe, not going to church, not tithing and whatnot was legally unacceptable. It was like, you know, oh crap. Lost my train of thought. Sorry.
No, it's fine. You can lose your train of thought. I don't have super chats yet, but I will take a coffee. So if you want to buy me some coffees, a coffee, so I can pay for my Streamlabs account, feel free.
When can you get super chats? When does
I
that
think
happen?
it's 500 subscribers or some shit like that. I don't know. Maya, when can I get super chats? Maya knows. How's Maya? Or Angier knows. Somebody knows. Like, I think it's 500. I'm at one. How many subscribers? Hold on, I can tell you how many subscribers I have. Give me 1 second. I have 189. It's fine. Like, I'm not. Yeah, 500. Thank you. So I have 500.
Actually, to rewind a bit, Aunt Jer said only people with wrenches can post links in the side chat. If anyone else tries, it doesn't show up for anyone except for the poster. Right. So it didn't show up for anyone but me.
Okay, I'll have to give you a wrench then.
Just for a second, I don't know.
We're here every weekend. I'll give you a wrench. You're here every week.
I try to at least catch one of your streams a week. I do.
Yeah, you are on my stream all the time. It's fine. I can share a wrench. So hold on 1 second. No, I don't want to show my moderation activity. Hold on, give me a second.
Sure. No, your streams are so fun, and that's why I was so excited to actually be on one.
I'm just
because it really is just like a chat. It's just a fun chat.
It's just me.
Like, well, you're awesome, and that's why everybody loves you.
It's one of those things that I was just like, oh, I know people. I can do a podcast and talk about whatever I want.
Well, because you literally know everybody, and everybody's like,
I know everyone.
I'll come hang out with you for a couple hours.
Yeah, come hang out with me. I am fun at a party.
Everybody wants to hang out with a Helen for a couple hours.
I know. It's like, I wish I was as popular in high school. Like I was not. I was a weird goth kid when I was in high school. So
same.
Yeah, I was. See, this is why we're the same person.
We really kind of are. It's kind of hilarious how much we have in common.
Like, we're the same person. Like, it just comes with the territory, which I've learned to accept.
Yeah.
All right, I'm trying. Okay.
I have met other me's. I mean, I don't know. It's just, you think you're so unique and you think you're so alone when you're going through this, and then you find out later that, like, you weren't nearly as alone as you thought. Just nobody was talking to each other.
See, Nancy's
and that's what the internet is good for. People can talk to each other without worrying about it.
Right. And I think, like, I don't know. I think, like, being a Zennial, like right between an Xer and a millennial, is like, I'm like that perfect blend of, like, I didn't grow up in internet culture, like, when I was like 5, but I was getting into maturity when internet culture became a thing.
Right.
So it's a little different. I don't have the same memories of people, like my kids, who have always been online. It's a very different experience. And I think that because of that, like, I adapted very well to internet culture, but I also, like, I want to have real life relationships. Because, like, I'm like, yeah, it's cool. That's, like, why I want to go to, like, atheist events and shit, so I can see all my friends.
Yeah, like, my 16-year-old lives entirely online, and I'm like, that doesn't feel quite right to
right?
me.
Like,
But
yeah,
I
like
mean, on the other
that may
hand,
not be good. That may not be good for you.
on the other hand, I mean, what would my parents would have just taken away my internet if I had gotten into trouble on the internet. They just would have taken it away, and that's just not
Oh, that's what my parents would have done.
possible
That's what my parents would have done. They'd be
anymore.
like, "You cannot." But I was already an adult and out of the house when like when I got like AOL.
Yeah,
So I'm
my
aging.
dad,
I am
I don't
aging
remember.
myself.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was born in 82, but my dad was very into computers very early on, and I don't actually ever remember not having a family computer. I played, Oregon Trail and Reader Rabbit on DOS, and I remember all of that, and I remember when AOL started sending out 5, 10, 15, 100 free hours on the CDs.
Yeah, you could get those like fucking hotcakes. You get them everywhere.
Oh, you could. You totally could.
You would
And
have like 10 discs like to send out into like an AOL account.
but my parents, they were very, very wary of the internet, which kudos to them, because like I said, I would have gotten myself into a lot of trouble if my parents hadn't been so attentive of me, because I was my mental health and my emotional situation, and I was looking for trouble. I will admit it. As a teenager, I was looking for
I am
trouble.
a
And
Mormon goth that I'm gonna look to rebel. Basically, was your
oh yeah.
attitude.
Oh yeah. I
I gotta let
I
the cat out.
was
Hold on a second.
looking to get in trouble. I mean, I think if my parents had not been as careful as they were, well, I just think I would have gotten into all sorts of things that definitely would have made my life even harder than it is now.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Or honestly, I might not have survived. Like I said, my parents were super religious, and I don't get that about them, especially considering how smart they were.
Well, the thing is
But
though,
at the
belief is
same
not related to
time,
intelligence. This comes from it's not comes from like a rational place. It comes from an emotional need,
right.
and
Yeah.
indoctrination. Because once those neurons are connected, were
And it's
they
true. And
were they indoctrinated as children?
oh, absolutely. Like I
So
said,
there you
my
go.
long-term family. My mom, her parents got married. There weren't as many temples then, so they didn't get married originally in the temple. But by the time they had 3 kids of their ultimate 7, they brought their 3 kids to the temple to get sealed. And so, it was always a huge part of both my mother and my father's
Mhm.
lives. My father's father spent some time in Mexico in the Mormon enclaves, um, down in Mexico, that were put up after the American government outlawed polygamy. So so the American government outlawed polygamy. And so the Mormons that didn't want to give up their wives, well, they didn't, it was kind of they didn't say you had to give up your wives necessarily, but it was frowned on. And of course, you couldn't take more wives. So a
So
good
wait, hold
number
on.
of
Repeat
Mormons.
that one more time. Repeat that one more time about the wives.
Okay, so during Brigham Young's um
I heard he was an asshole.
oh, total
Worse
horrible,
than
horrible,
and I don't know how you
worse
get
than
worse than
Joseph
Robert.
Smith.
Yeah, I heard worse than which is special. Anyway,
I
go back to the
know,
wife
I
thing.
know. That's saying something. Anyway, so when the American government told Utah, you either outlaw polygamy or you're not going to be a state. The LDS religion decided to outlaw polygamy, and they justified it by saying, well, we obey the laws of man because that's what God wants us to do.
Wait, no, that's awfully convenient, because there wasn't the whole point of them like doing this whole separatist movement was so they wouldn't have to be a part of the government. And that's why you had all these other weird sects that wanted to be not part of the government. Like, I'm not even a full Mormon.
This is when the big break happened, actually. The polygamy was what the big break between all the sects happened over. There was a big break when Joseph Smith died about who was going to be the successor, either Joseph Smith Jr. or Brigham Young. And I personally think Joseph Smith wanted Joseph Smith Jr. to ultimately be the successor, but he didn't think he would die so young. And so Brigham Young was like the current favorite. Anyway, so then they moved to Utah, and Utah was trying to get statehood, but they practiced polygamy. And the American government was like, you can't keep practicing polygamy if you want statehood, because that's against the rules. And so they decided, okay, well, we will stop practicing polygamy. And that's when a lot of the fundamentalist groups that we have now started breaking off, because they didn't want to stop practicing polygamy. So that's when you got the FLDS stuff going on, the ones at Short Creek and all of that. And then you also got, at that same time, a lot of people, a lot of LDS people, well, Mormon people, I should say, because, like I said, they were only breaking up into sects at that point, moving to Mexico. And there are still to this day fundamentalist groups in Mexico, fundamentalist Mormon groups in Mexico. So the big break was over polygamy. The first big break was over who was the successor, but the big break was over polygamy. And the mainstream church decided to do away with it, and the sects broke off.
So, here's a question. So that being noted, so why, if the church's official stance is like, hey, not cool anymore, not because God's not okay with it, it's because the government.
Right.
There's like there's like certain divisions of Latter-day Saints that still practice it, though illegally.
Yes.
What was the thinking of, because like that's not recent, that's like that an additional separatist movement, to separate them from like the main church, other than the fact that people being misogynist. Like,
right. So my chair, anyway, so what happened is that I'm sorry, can you rephrase your question? I apologize.
So no, it's okay. So there was the main church that said like, hey, polygamy is not cool anymore, because like, not because God said stuff, it was because the state said, hey, if you
right. So how do they justify that God says it's okay, but we're not practicing it?
Right. So my follow-up question to that is, since I'm establishing the fucked upness about this, so you have this additional separatist movement that's separated from the main Mormon church so they can keep practicing polygamy. What, and that I'm assuming was around the same time that they were saying like, hey, can't be a state.
Right. Yes.
So
that was the big separatist.
Yeah, the big separatist. How big do you know how big that group is now? And what was like the kind of like
smaller
thinking behind that?
Okay, so since well, the biggest FLDS cult was, of course, run by the Jeffs family. And since Warren Jeffs has gone to jail, they
Fuck that guy.
have been, and of course, before that too. The
Oh.
thing is, they were big in the 70s. Everything was so big in the 70s. That was like the heyday for these high demand religions, these cult type religions back in the 70s. And all of them have been shrinking since then. And the only reason that that the LDS religion has shrunk less is because they have changed to keep up with the times. The separatists didn't.
Okay.
And so they just kept losing more and more and more each decade. How they all justified that was that the fundamentalists thought, oh, we're following the true religion. We're following it the way it's supposed to be taught. And so we're justified in breaking the laws and even breaking the rules of the main religion because they're doing it wrong. And the way that the main LDS branch justified that they were changing the rules is that, well, it's not meant to be practiced here on earth. We're not good enough here on earth to be able to practice this principle properly.
What?
I know.
Is that why you get your own planet and you can have multiple wives on your own fucking planet?
To be fair, that was never doctrine. That was just tradition. I know. It's a cop-out. It's a super cop-out. But if I'm Mormon,
if I die, do I get my own planet? And no, I can't. I don't have a penis. But
no, you don't. You would be an eternal baby maker.
Obviously.
If you had a husband who was good enough to become a god. Yeah. But you could never be a god.
Hold on. What's the point of populating the universe with more babies? Didn't you already do that?
Babies are the point of everything.
Oh, okay.
Apparently.
Listen, I love a baby. I gave birth to babies. I get the babies, the babies, but I don't think they're the point of everything.
No, but
apparently I'm wrong.
To LDS,
you know what? I'm gonna fail that Gilead. I'm gonna fail living in Gilead. I'm just gonna fail at it.
I know. I mean, really, it's not gonna be Gilead. It's gonna be LDS-iad. Because they're the baby makers.
Okay. I don't understand. Like, this is the thing about, like, I understand the importance of baby making a religion. It's not really about, like, we're preserving life. It's more like, no, we need more congregants to keep our religion going. Like, that's the underlining motivation of it, because it's gross. So gross. But because you and I are aware of that, we're like, hey, yes, I like bringing life into the world is cool, but also at the same time, I shouldn't feel compelled to do it just because like some guy on a pulpit told me that is my job. Sorry, it should be a choice. It's a choice. So just saying, so I just find this whole thing about like the separatist movement deciding like, no, because I know there are women, and it's still in the modern LDS churches that think that polygamy is cool, which I don't think is fair if you can't sleep with your sister wives. I'm just saying. I know it happens.
Really I know it happens. I mean, honestly, it was one of those things that happened all the time, just didn't get talked about.
Like listen, I know. No, a part of the bisexual Illuminati. I know. So don't sit there and pretend it's not.
I mean, I'm sorry. How many people could could sleep in a bed with several fine ass women and not want to touch their boobies.
Not want to have a good time. And
exactly.
because like what's the point? Like if I like, oh my God, me as a Mormon. No, that's a scary thought. Like, let's not imagine me as a Mormon.
I would pay money to see that.
See me as a Mormon? Oh no.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We have to get you a temple outfit.
We're gonna okay.
Oh, that would be so
I can cosplay
Okay.
as a Mormon for Halloween. I'm cosplaying. I can't, like, that's the whole thing about, like, I can cosplay Catholic really well. I can. I have a little schoolgirl's outfit that is not appropriate for Catholic school. I'm just saying. But that being said, like cosplaying as a Mormon, and let's be sacrilegious. Yes, Nancy. It could be a kink we can do. It'll be great. So one of my old coworkers, because I grew up with Mormons in my social life when I was growing up. I have friends that were Mormon. One of my dear friends is Mormon, but left the church because her son is their son is trans, and the Mormons were like, and they decided to pick their child over the church. So good for them. Also, they were kind of progressive because this was in the 90s where we were both going to public high school, and all of us queers were just like, I want to be out. So
even more impressive, it was all the way back then.
Yeah, in the 90s. Wow. Yeah, it wasn't. We didn't have rights, but this was the beginning. In the 90s was the beginning of public acceptance of queer people. It was a slow slog. It's still a slow slog, but
I swear I had less trouble being super lesbian and gay in school because I was a lesbian for a long time. I wasn't attracted to men until my late teens at all. Mm-hmm. I was attracted to women exclusively for a fair number of years, and that was definitely a big part of me, leaving the religion because, of course, that was unacceptable. But at the same time, I feel like in Northern Virginia, I faced less discrimination for being a lesbian than my child does in Northern Virginia now for being a lesbian and agender. I feel like we have backslid a bit.
I grew up in New Hampshire, nobody cared. Because it was we were testing the waters of visibility.
Right. I mean, most people considered it a phase for me,
Yeah, I've been going through let's see, I was 15 when I first had sex with a girl. I'm 48, so it's been a 33 year phase.
I remember I remember getting a TV guide with Buffy the Vampire Slayer layout and hiding it under my bed and telling myself very firmly that I wanted to read the articles.
Oh, you did a Playboy.
That was why I did it. I also hid Victoria's Secret catalogs because I was interested in the sales. I told myself this very firmly. Every night I was looking through them.
Did you diddle your bean while you're looking at your TV guide?
Well, I'm not sure what the one has to do with the other.
I don't know.
Obviously, those were separate things.
Obviously.
Obviously. Oh, and I should say, because this is hilarious, until I was about 14, I didn't realize what I was doing was masturbating because I didn't know that girls could masturbate or have orgasms.
I'm sorry.
I know. I was having orgasms.
Even
but
me
I
at like
didn't.
13 years old figured that out. Hi, Kyle's here. Yay. Kyle's here. Hi, honey. So anyway, and like, hi, hi,
One
chat.
moment.
Hi. So I in my weird existence of being like a Catholic is that also me being me. This is there's a child. I will not talk about my masturbation habits when I was growing up.
She
Hello,
wants to say
child.
hi, but look
Hello.
at this. Look at this girl. Is this a girl
Oh
who
my
has been
God.
playing hard all day, or what?
I heard you got a swing set.
She did. You're still in my ears, so she can't hear you.
Yeah. Hi, honey.
Anyway,
Hello.
I just look at this. Look at smeared dirt, messed up head.
Yeah, that's what you want in a 5-year-old, really.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
that's
I'm glad that she
that's a
is
good
living her
day
best
of
life.
play. She is.
Yeah, good for her. I want her to live her best life. Like swinging a swing set. Come on, like I want to go down slides. Like,
oh dear. I actually do have to step away for just a moment.
Okay, I'll talk about other stuff. So go do your thing. I can't watch responding to the chat. I can't watch The Handmaid's Tale because there's essay in it, and it's too triggering for me to watch it. I read the book, and that was enough. It was just enough. I like and living in it, very close to it, is enough of an experience that I don't need to experience viscerally. Thank you very much, because it's fucked up. So, but I'm gonna fail the Gilead guys. Like I got my tubes tied after my son was born. Like there's a I don't like I guess like I would be what I forget what they're called. I remember this from the books. Like it's like a mother, I don't know, a guide, some kind of you enforce the patriarchy from the top because or so yeah, it's just not great, guys. It's just don't do it. But like when going back to before, like when I was growing up in the 90s, like it was starting the beginning of that visibility stage. Bye, Patty. I love you. Bye, honey. Bye, sweetheart. So like when I was going through, oh yeah, I know, it's very Pippi Longstocking, like that ginger hair, so cute, so fucking cute. The whole thing about like when I was a teenager in the 90s, like this whole like it was starting the beginning of visibility, and like I was in this very weird space because like I knew I was queer because obviously, but it was still sort of like your sexuality was like gatekept by like society, and like obviously I was young and I wasn't getting like proper like education on that when I was a teenager queer person. So it took me a lot to get to like very like I didn't get into like my early 30s, so I got like 100% comfortable with my sexuality. And like I said, like I'm still getting that messaging that likes to crop up in the back of my fucking brain, being like, well, you're not valid, or like you're a slut because you're into people of different genders, and you're poly, and you just hear this messaging that gets like kind of put into your brain that you have to like constantly like fight against, which is exhausting. And it's not that I feel bad, but it's just like those thoughts that kind of prop into your brain because like your brain's been conditioned to that. And plus like equals like also it's just because we live in a society and it's sexist as fuck. So when you're living in a society that is sexist as fuck, you're constantly having to push against the fact that you live in a society that is sexist as fuck. So it's a constant.
I'm back.
Okay, cool. I was bitching about feminism.
No, I love it. I love it.
I was bitching.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. No, we were
wanted to
talking
come
about
up and
how
say hi.
adorable your little monkey butt has.
Oh yes,
she's so cute, and she's a ginger. She's like so fucking cute.
So ginger. Yeah, she wanted to come up and say hi, and
That's how you know she doesn't have a soul.
No, I know. No, actually, she has plenty of souls. She has lots of them. She collects one new one at least every day.
One like a freckle. That's how the
Yeah,
freckles
like she just is like, oh, I'll take that one, and I'll take that one, and I'll take that one.
Yeah,
But
it's
no,
one of those like,
as soon as she was off camera, she's like, "Mommy, I have a headache," and I'm like, "Oh,
oh,
poor baby." So
oh,
I gave her some kitty Tylenol.
that's awesome.
Yeah, well, she doesn't complain about pain unless it's like significant.
Yeah,
So
that's how. Yeah, yeah. To be fair, girl, get the girl some aspirin. Sorry,
I know, right?
like,
Especially at
girl,
bedtime. It's like
bedtime. Like, yeah, take some medicine and go to bed. Like, that sounds ideal to me. Like,
yeah,
thank you
yeah.
very much. So,
No, but she's a
we were talking
darling.
about we were talking about polygamy.
Aha. See,
Okay.
okay, so one of the coolest things about me and my LDS upbringing is that I believe, and I have told this to my mom, and she loathes the idea, that my upbringing in the LDS church, knowing that polygamy was a thing, like understanding and
Ow.
accepting that people could have more than one partner and maintain a loving, healthy relationship. That was a big part of like the past culture. I mean, like we didn't do it now, but it was fine
It
and good,
was. It was a thing.
and it will be again in the afterlife. It will be a thing again. And
Again.
so I think
Like,
that kind of
gatekeeping.
predisposed
So,
me to being all like, well, I mean, I guess having more than one partner is a thing that can happen. So
that's like when
why
you
don't I
said,
try
like,
it?
we were talking about, like, like polygamy wasn't so weird to you, like polyamory isn't so weird because that was just the
Yes.
culture you grew up in. Like for me, that was one of the things that I was like, oh wait, hold on, like, oh, I can be in love with more than one person at the same time. Oh, that's interesting. And maintain healthy relationships and stuff like that. I think that for those of us that had to learn that lesson later, it can be something of an experience, which is, I'm all about consent. Like, if you want to be in a monogamous relationship, be in a monogamous relationship. If you
Oh,
want to be poly light,
absolutely.
if you want to be like super poly, if you want to be swingers, whatever, I don't care, as
Right.
long as everybody's consenting
Just as
adults and
long as
you're all
it's
in agreement.
all consensual.
It's
I
like,
mean, like
and
I could be monogamous. If I found somebody who I wanted to spend the rest of my life with and they needed me to be monogamous, that wouldn't be a problem for me.
Mhm.
Like I'm not monogamous. I am a poly person, but I could behave monogamously for the
That's
right
what I
person.
behave most of the time. So, because also I'm lazy. I'm not like, I'm busy.
Well, there's
I
a
got a lot
reason
going
why I
on,
haven't
and
gotten laid in 2+ years
I
because I'm lazy
well,
and
it's like, even
traumatized.
I'm like, I was saying, I'm like, God, I need a girlfriend. I said this the other day. I said, God, I need a girlfriend. But also at the same time, that means I would have to go find. Okay, you live too far away. So,
Oh, okay.
okay, like, like I have Nancy. She's like, I can have internet wives, but like I need
I
a
get it.
girlfriend.
I get
So
it.
I like in my life, but also that means I have to go find one, and that's too much work. Like, so I've taken up
Understood.
the attitude that, like, I just want to have sex with my friends. If I can just have a good time with my friends,
Honestly,
that'd be so much easier.
my most rewarding, productive, and sane relationship.
Yeah. Oh, I have a little bit of lag. A little bit of lag. I cannot hear you. So I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
There you
Yeah.
are. There you are. There you are. Okay, go. Okay, rewind. So your most productive relationship was
have been my friends with benefits relationships. Like
yeah.
I have had several wonderful, amazing friends with benefits relationships.
Yeah.
And I think that those relationships, that the healthy ones of those, have been healthier by far than my long-term romantic relationships.
It's been a mixed bag for me, but like
No, I've had some bad experiences too.
yeah, I think
You know,
like
when one or the other of us caught feels, or when expectations were not aligned,
yeah,
you
and
know,
that's just any relationship.
that's exactly,
Any
no
relationship.
harm, no foul. We just don't vibe on this level, you know.
Right. Well,
But my good friends with benefits relationships have been better than even my good romantic relationships.
yeah, and I think that
I feel.
like I've been like I've never been single. I've never been single in my adult life. I have never been it. I don't know what that's like. I know it's like to be poly and queer, but I've never been on my own and like on my completely on my own.
I get that. That was me until 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was living with my parents. Then I lived with my ex-husband, and then when at the beginning of the end, I met my current husband. We've been together for 20 years. I don't know what it's like to live in a
Yeah.
world where I don't have a partner. I don't want to live in that world because I don't think I function well. I find a way, but I'd probably be like, "Hey, will you come live with me so I don't have to live in my house by myself?"
Not
And I want to
eh,
cuddle with
for
somebody. Like I would be like, "Come live with
right.
me."
For me, these last 2 years where I have been single for the first time in my adult life for more than like a span of months, you know, maybe between partners.
I did not mean to share
But
your
these last 2
your
years,
response, John. I pulled up this response from John that had no context whatsoever. If you did not know what's going on in the chat, so I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
sorry. And I've been trying to kind of keep track of the chat, but I haven't been doing very well on it. So
That's fine.
anyway,
I'm doing it.
yes, monopoly
Kinda.
relationships can exist and be perfectly happy. That
Yeah.
is true.
Yeah.
But sorry, that's one I caught. Anyway, oh crap.
Okay, go back. Go back. We were talking about how you're friends with benefit
Oh, right. I've been
relationships.
single. So
Yes.
since my divorce, after my divorce, I kind of immediately engulfed myself in a relationship with a man I had been in a relationship with like lots of years before, and that went as well as you probably imagine. And then I started trying to date, and it was just horrible. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't been single for ever, literally ever, like since I was 20. Maybe I should just try that out for a while. And that was 2 years ago. And I personally am kind of loving it. I mean, like, if I find the right person, I would like to be in a relationship again someday.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, I'm not willing to what's the word I'm looking for?
It's very hard. Okay, so
Settle.
this is how my best friend put it. When you get to a certain age, like especially those of us that are middle age, you know who you are, you know your habits, you have a routine, you're probably, you know, parenting or have like career goals, or there's certain things in your life that you're used to of how you want your life to go. Like, that's kind of my feeling on it.
Right.
Because my best friend is very gay, and he has been in and out of, he's tried, and he goes, I'm very comfortable right now. He's like, I am 50 years old. And he's like, I have, my friends, and I travel, and I have a career, and I have all these things in my life. And he goes, adding somebody to that is hard, because not only because I want you to adapt to my life, and you in your 40s and 50s has already established your life. So you kind of have the same standard. And that's what makes it difficult as you get older, because when you get to about this age, you're pretty settled. Like like that's the whole thing about finding a girlfriend. It's like, I want a girlfriend, but also at the same time, it's like, well, you also have to accept the fact that I am not needy. I don't text well at all. Like, you all know, if you have DM'd me on Discord or Messenger and I do not respond to you, it's probably not because I don't want to talk to you. It's just that I don't pay attention. I just don't. So it's the ADHD way. And the fact that like people want maintenance in a relationship, I'm like, especially in the beginning, like, I'm like, that's too much work.
Yeah, no, I mean, the beginning of the relationship is the most work.
Yeah, and I'm lazy. I'm a lazy queer.
Then there's the fact that I have a broken picker. I'm just definitely attracted to the wrong people. Like, not always. I mean, like, there are lots of people I'm attracted to that would be great people, like you, for instance.
Thank you, Dark Wolf.
But
thank you for
at the same time
confirming my statement, Dark Wolf. Thank you. I feel seen. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. So you're broken picker.
But at the same time, like, the people who would be good for me, it's like, I don't know. I'm still deeply in pretty intensive therapy. And I'm pretty sure that I would not trust somebody who I deserve, because I couldn't quite yet believe that I deserve them.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I know it's bad. That's why I'm not looking right now.
I think that you deserve all the love and orgasms you can get. So, like,
see, I agree with that. Like, here. But here is harder to commit.
Well, that's your Mormon emotional trauma talking. Like, because you were taught to shame things that you want. And that,
absolutely.
like, you want, like, I want an equal partner that will love me and bring me tacos, touch my butt, and give me orgasms. Like, I'm a very basic girl. But like tell me I'm cute, touch my butt, give me tacos, like, I'm a basic bitch.
Well, like Wild Bill Wigglestick says, tacos and boobies. Everybody
tacos
likes
and boobies.
Tacos and boobies.
Got some boobies.
Speaking
and you got some tacos.
Which,
everything's fine.
Shout out to the Daily Atheist Morning Show. Chris Mallard and Ryan Coltastic. I loves them.
Which I've never listened to. I don't listen to anybody. Like, to be fair, I know so many fucking people in this community, and I don't watch their shit. Which is okay. This is not like listen, like, I love my Nancy and I love my Patty, and occasionally I'll watch their channel. I don't, but for the most part, if you have content, I'm probably not consuming it. I'm usually consuming like news content, and I think, and this is the reason why, like, I will subscribe to your channel. I might even join your Patreon. Like, it depends, but I'm not watching your content because, one, I don't have time. Two, like, a lot of the content isn't for me. Like I've dealt with purity culture shit. I've dealt with like atheist debates. I have atheist debates. I do a TikTok every Tuesday where I'm yelling at, talking about, like, having doing street epistemology and all that shit. Like, I do it. Okay.
Right.
So this, and I understand that is not for me. What I'm usually watching is that we'll take what we can get home. Thanks, Nancy. I still love you. Like, I love you and Patty, but it's not gonna happen. This is not an insult to anyone that makes content. You guys are so essential, and I want you people to find the people that need you. I'm just not your audience because I've dealt with all this shit. You know, I've recovered from religion, as they say. You know, but that doesn't mean I don't support you. But my point is, my content is like, I watch like Fundy Fridays because I want Jen to talk about all the weird religious shit that's going on and these weird cults, especially in the evangelical right, that I'm so fascinated by because it's a shit show over there, because there's so much involved in politics, and it affects my daily life. Deconstructing, looking at religion, like obviously I find religion fascinating, but like the letting go of that, I've already done that process. So so it's a different content that I'm consuming, you know, like
the ACA, I will catch shows here and there, especially if somebody I want to particularly watch is on the line. I'll usually watch their clips, you know.
I watch clips.
Really,
I will never sit down for a 2.5 hour show, and I volunteer for the ACA.
No, I can't. and even if I do sit down for one of their 2.5 hour shows, I'm fast forwarding through the fluff because, you know, there's a certain part. And I think actually what was I listening to that was talking about how some people get past needing the vehement deconstruction type messages and then they start to mock them. I can't remember what it was I was watching, but it was something along those lines where some longer term atheists start to look at some of the content that's kind of more aggressively anti-theist and kind of thinking that it's in some ways, you know, oh, well, it's not necessary. Well, sure, it's not necessary for you anymore, but it was. And so we should still support that aspect of things too.
Well, like, because I know, like, I've gotten into the same conversation with people over and over again on TikTok. I'm not I'm not doing it because, like, I know these arguments. I know apologetics like the back of my fucking hand. Like, and so it's fine because but I'm doing it because I want people to hear me talking to someone and going, does this make sense? Let's follow the through line because I know it. And the people that have already are like on TikTok or whatever, or if you watch like the line or the ACA content in regards to like deconstruction, like looking at faith and logically walking people through that stuff. I do it once a week. It's fine. And I've been on other shows and I've had those conversations and it's good because people need that. But when you get to older atheists where we're all like this, I've done all the work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't need it anymore. That's why I don't consume as much as I used to. Like usually, if I like when one of my buds is on, like I have plenty of people in both and in the atheist community. I'll watch clips, but because usually like the thumbnail is like I want to hear this.
And I gotta do another shout out. Justin, Deconstruction Zone. I gotta say, he teaches me so much about the Bible all the time, and I go into the Bible afterwards, looking this stuff up, and that's like education that I'm still working.
That's what I think that's what when we are elder atheists, it's not so much like I want to be debunked. I want to know more. So so this way, like we have like our nerd hats on. Like I'm fascinated by religion. I am fascinated by it because it is historical, cultural. It informs a lot of who we are in the modern world. So even still, like these are bad, like, you know, arguments. Okay. But we are fascinated by it because one, we lived it. And two, it's just like culturally, it's like, wow, we've been doing this forever. And for some reason, this is something that we can't get away from as a species. So I think for us, it's because we're never getting rid of religion. Because I can tell
fascinating. No, I don't think so.
No, because even if we got rid of like, monotheistic religion, something, it would be like new
magical thinking will always be a thing.
Magical thinking, because that's what we do, and this is just part of our brains, and it's up to us, the rest of us, going like, hey, totally understand why you think that putting on your lucky socks is going to make you do really well job at a job interview. I understand that, but you're psychologically tricking yourself, and this is the reason why.
But that's okay, because placebos, if they work, they work.
There was a woman that knew that she, like, my friend Rob Palmer, that I used to do stuff with, recovering from religion. He said that he met someone that knew it was a placebo and kept taking the placebo because it worked.
If a placebo ever worked for me, I would keep taking it for sure.
The power of the human mind is fascinating, and that's why you get like your parents who were like same with my parents. My parents were very intelligent, somewhat normal people, somewhat normal. But also, like
tell your mama you said that.
You tell my mama, but like, because I'm somewhat normal. So like it's debatable.
No, it's a compliment. Weird is a compliment.
Yeah, like, so like when you grow up, like, these are how you get people that can be very rational about, like, teach evolutionary science, but also there may be a God. Like, it's a weird sort of, like, you get biologists and people that actually study hard science and will still believe in God or some kind of, like, look at Misha Kiko, like Mr. like physicist believes in like aliens and alternate dimensions and like said that it doesn't exist, like we have no viable proof for it. And I'm like, dude, like, you are so smart. You are like big brain physics guy and you believe in some weird shit.
I'm
a layman.
I was actually shocked recently because I'd never discussed evolution with my mother. I just assumed that being a woman with an advanced degree and an intelligent person, that she believed it. Certainly, it was never something. It's not something that the LDS Church debunks specifically. They kind of seem to have an intelligent design sort of idea, most of them. Like,
is it like the Catholics where
there's a God, but he used evolution kind of thing?
So like
seems
there's
to be the general gist.
Like God like started the universe into being, but then let nature figure it out. And which is, well, honestly,
not really, because
I'm kind of like, I can see, I don't believe it, but at least it's more, because it aligns with, like, we don't know what happened before the Big Bang, so you're just putting like that God the gaps things in there, but you're still, the evidence is so strong for the physics and the evolution stuff that you're just like, this is the way I reconcile, because this isn't what I did,
right? And the deist God would be, I think, the only God I truly could believe in without significant evidence.
All the evidence.
But that's not quite it. They believe that God somehow has a hand in our day-to-day life and is omniscient and omnipresent and
so God
omni-loving and omni-everything.
A couple days ago.
Right. But at the same time, he used evolution and like he created the natural functions to go on. But he also could change them if he wanted to, but he doesn't most of the time unless he does. I don't know. This is why I could never quite believe it, because it does not make sense. And when you start to ask questions, they just tell you that God knows best. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, I get it. But I want to know best too. And if God was really loving, he would not give me this torture inside my mind trying to figure this out.
Right. And that's the whole thing. And I don't think I don't think there's enough, like, for those of us that exist in this sort of space where we're trying to make this all make sense. Like why would God make my, like I think that I hate Richard Dawkins, like I do, because he's a transphobe and just a piece of shit. But he did ask a good, really, like, I'll give credit where it's credit's due. Thank you. He would be like, hey, if he got to talk to, hi, sweet potato, if you got to talk to God, what would you say to him? And go like, why did you make it so hard to make us think that you exist? And also, like if you, like, why did, like, you're all powerful, why didn't you just let us all know?
No, that has been the number one question. And I mean, like, my mom and I do not discuss religion anymore because I keep asking her questions. She is really, really uncomfortable that she doesn't know the answers to. Because I'll ask her, okay, if your God, if your God is true and he loves me, why didn't he give me the answer I was looking for? Because I wanted to believe. I wanted to be told that the religion I grew up with was true. And I tried really hard to get that answer and I never did. And I'm like, why wouldn't I have gotten an answer? And she's just, she all she can say is, I don't know. And
which is valid.
I can tell she's really uncomfortable with that answer, you know, but that's when the conversation always breaks down. It's just,
see, like, my mom,
what is with hiddenness? What the heck? Why? What is the point of what's it called? Something hiddenness.
Divine
hiddenness. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know because like
it makes no sense.
So like let's say I was a god or you're a god, like I would want people to know I existed, and like I wouldn't do these, like, you know, mental,
these gotchas.
Yeah, to test your faith. Yes, obviously to test your faith, Nancy. like what?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, why? It's like, I know faith is the argument of believing in what it's sensing.
Was that the great husband?
It was the great husband that brought me my broccoli bake, but it's very hot, so I'm letting it cool. So
okay, well,
it's
thank
broccoli
you,
bake with
husband.
veggie sausage.
Bye-bye.
And then he left because he's like, because I was like, can you bring me dinner? He's like, I'm resting. I'm like, please. So
what a great
shout
guy.
out to the husband, the best husband of all the husbands. So anyway, so like I think that there's this sort of, like, if I was a god, I would want, because I'm like, well, also if you're an omnipresent, omnipowerful, omni, you know, benevolent being, like, why do you need people to worship you? Like is this like a power up thing? Like, are you Mario, and the more prayers you get, like, you get more power? Like, I want to know. Like, it just doesn't, like, why would I want, like, why would I need worship if I have all the power?
Right.
Doesn't it seem counterintuitive if you think about it for 2 seconds?
I mean, like, if you go to you know our wonderful fantasy world, and we go into Neil Gaiman, who unfortunately is a horrible person, but
yeah,
American Gods, where they actually, shout out to Hot Husband, yes, where they actually gained their power from the people who believed in them. I mean, that's a method that
I blame
actually
Neil
make a certain amount of sense.
And I'm so mad at him. It's a complicated relationship.
I'm so mad at him.
It's a complicated relationship.
Way worse than with you know, Joanne, because, you know, she wrote some good books, but she was never a great writer. Whereas Neil Gaiman's
a great writer, and he pretended to be an ally, which is worse, makes it worse. That's what makes it worse.
It is. And I'm so mad at him. I'm so mad. I don't know even what to do, because he wrote so many of my favorites, and I can't even pronounce his name right. So
that is true. There are several also gods from different mythologies. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yes, I agree. I'm just talking if I was a god.
Well, I gotta
would want to be
say,
done because then they don't have to do all these mental gymnastics, so I can get what I want. Like if I can display that I can like totally like destroy your planet, give me attention, that's just gonna feed my ego.
yeah.
Because most guards are narcissists.
Well, you kind of have to be able like,
God,
hey,
yeah.
you know what I'm gonna do today? I'm gonna create my own little world and just be in charge of everything. I mean, that's a pretty narcissistic thing to do.
I play The Sims.
I love The Sims.
I'm a dungeon mistress playing D&D.
I know. I mean, I'm not saying narcissism is always like, dangerous. I'm just saying
you can have healthy narcissism. If you do a podcast, you have healthy narcissism.
Well, it depends on what podcast you do. I mean, there are people like just
for those like my audience that have platforms. Yes. I know that you're a healthy narcissist because you have opinions and you think those opinions should be shared, and you think you have enough confidence to share those opinions, so you're a healthy narcissist. It's the other ones that with the recent drama that's going on that we could have a conversation about. I'm not going to get into that shit right now, but I'm just making a point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like rehashing
it's a mixed bag wherever community you're in. Like Jimmy said a few years ago that he was like, when I got into the atheist community, I thought there was going to be this like progressive, free thinker, like, attitude. And then he found out that
it's just high school. It's all high school.
It's all high school. And because like I thought the same thing. And then I started becoming an activist. And then I was like, oh no. I've been called slurs online.
Interpersonal drama is going to be
and interpersonal drama, which is
culture.
why I associate with people that I do because I don't want drama. I don't. And also I'm going to remind everybody, I'm trying to get my accountability, the accountability network certification. So like if someone's problem, like I'm trying to do that right now. I'm working on it. They do classes right when I'm getting off work. Makes it hard. I'm gonna make it happen. But regardless, whether or not, if I say something or I platform someone, they're like, hey, Helen, email me, shoot me a DM, let me know. Because I don't want to have butt heads on my channel. And also, if I say something that is not correct, I will correct myself and always do an apology, 100%. So let me know. But there are certain people in our community that don't do that accountability. And then they get like what is basically a small, I call it small dick, but like a small God complex where they're like, hey, I cannot be wrong, so I'm going to double down. And then they end up kind of looking like the asshole.
Not to name any names.
To be fair, I didn't know.
No, there are several names that could be named.
I know several. I can probably think of a couple. But
then no, there are lots of names that could be named. But I know.
But we're not here for that because I'm not going to throw shade. You know who you are. And if you're watching my channel, which I doubt you are, but if you do in the future, I see you. I was gonna say. And if you're feeling that little twinge of like, hey, you're calling me out, yes, I am. You know who you are. So, maybe that's your guilty conscience talking to you, motherfucker.
Well, you know what? I think I'm gonna have to it's probably gonna take us 12 minutes to do goodbyes because I'm that sort. But I do think I should wrap this up.
I'm gonna go
in my time. So
I'm gonna go eat my dinner and like hang out with the husband and do other things.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Hey, internet people. Hey, it's not go be a mom,
5
but
more
tell
minutes,
the
babe.
people who you are and where they can find you on the shit.
Just one moment. Sorry. Iris,
Okay,
give me
so
5 more minutes and I will be right with you to put you to bed
because you're
properly, okay?
yeah, you
5
can
more
tell her
minutes,
that our
babe.
Auntie Helen says so.
Okay, go get it. She left her water bottle outside. Sorry. And this was apparently a tragedy that
It's
she
very
needed
tragic.
to discuss with me.
It's very tragic.
Okay, so I am Ms. NonSequitur. I don't have any personal things that I do, but I love to promote the Daily Atheist Morning Show with Chris Mallard and Ryan
Julie do.
Koltasik every morning at 9, every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm just a chick.
She's everywhere.
I am kind of just everywhere.
She's usually here. I want to have a podcast going on.
I know. Yeah. I try and catch you at least once a week.
Your support.
You're
like it makes me
we're
feel
talking
so
about
good
how
that
we
I
don't
make you
watch.
happy.
Yeah, we're talking about how we don't watch like a lot of content consistently, but yours I always do because it's just such a breath of fresh air. It's just such a it's just a blah. You know, it's just a thing. We just start chatting with people and it's so nice.
Oh, thank you. I like when I came up with it, I'm like, well, what do I want to do? I want a YouTube channel. 1, I don't want to edit. 2, I just want to have interesting conversations. So this kind of worked for what it was.
Well, it works
and
for me. I love
have
it.
a structure. There's structure within
structure.
It's the ADHD structure. Like I have a thing, but I don't have to stick to it. It kind of,
and I mean that suits me so well. I mean, like
that I have for
my ADHD brain just gloms onto your content.
If you
it's
have
great.
ADHD
I love it.
brain, this is the perfect channel for you. So
but
again,
thank you so much for having me on.
Oh yeah, I thank you.
I'm happy to come back anytime.
We only got a little bit into the Mormonism. I felt like
we did. We're gonna we might have to come back and talk more about that.
We might have to come back for the full Mormon talk.
Yeah.
So.
But
I think also too, this is the first time we've had like a long form conversation. So there was a lot of bouncing points and stuff off each other, which is great because it's also getting to know you. So,
but hey, you know what?
There you go.
If you ever have somebody cancel on you last minute,
I'll bug you. I will bug you.
So yeah.
Thank you.
So
you and EJ.
If you ever need last minute, I'm likely available. But yeah, thank you so much.
I will DM you. Yeah, Nancy, you should have Ms. NonSequitur on your channel. I'm just gonna slide that out. I'm just saying, if you have a channel, you should.
I would love to.
Come on our channel. You talk about our weird Mormon upbringing that we did not get into. Anyway.
No, well, I mean, we got into it a little bit, but yeah, I'd love to talk more about the adolescence because there is one thing I would love to talk more about when it's a little more structured than this, because I knew this was going to be very freeform. But one thing I would love to talk about more is the practice that is still going on to a certain extent, though they have amended it somewhat, of worthiness interviews where, there are, starting from the time you're 12, at least once a year or whenever the bishop decides they want one, you go in and sit in a room all alone with a middle-aged man and they ask you about how much you've been sinning lately.
What?
And it's gross. It's super duper gross.
Oh, I know what I heard about this with the Warren Jeffs Be Sweet thing.
Yeah,
which is a terrible and also really good documentary.
Yes, but in the mainstream church, it's just, I mean, well, just as a little toe dip, I literally had a middle-aged man who I kind of barely knew asking me about how often and how I masturbated.
That is none of his
What
fucking business.
specifically I did with my girlfriends. Specifically. And I was alone in a
Wow, that's
room with this
gross.
guy.
That is
Yeah,
so
no,
gross.
it's super gross.
Fuck
So
that
that's
guy.
something I'd love to go into sometime. But this time didn't really feel like quite the right venue. A little more
No, that's the same thing Catholics do.
freeform.
To be fair, this is the same thing Catholic confessionals do. This is the same thing. Again, you were talking about how Mormons, borrow from other religions. This is very Catholic.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah. So we'll have a conversation about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's talk about religious trauma
talking
shit.
about this. I have all the stories.
Okay, so we're gonna have a conversation about that. Okay, so thank you for being here. By the way, well, I'll have you on again. Obviously, I'll be like, I got canceled. Do you want to come in and talk about your religious trauma? No, we don't have to talk about religious trauma shit. We can just talk about like bullshit as we've been like. This is what my stream. You go be a mom. Go be a mom.
Yeah, I need to go be a mom.
I'm gonna
I need
just
to put
show
this
my.
little girl down.
I'm gonna go just show my shit anyway. So like, go be a mom.
Okay, so I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much.
Yep,
Love you.
I love
you, everybody in the chat.
I'll probably see you Thursday.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. All right, so all right, love you, Annie. Okay, so this coming Thursday, Coleman Watts is going to come on from Think This Through, and we're going to talk about cults. He was part of like the Red Pill cult community. I saw him on Seth's channel, and I was like, "Ooh, sounds interesting." So his channel's really funny. Like just these little skits he does about religion and bullshit. What got me excited, he's like, I'm doing a video on the Twin Flames cult. And I was like, oh my God, I want to talk about cults. So we're going to talk about cults on Thursday. And then Miss NonSequitur is going to be on this coming Sunday, and Dr. Ben and Bree from Hive Science and my friend BB and probably Martin Robert, we're going to have a Pride panel this coming Sunday at 6 p.m. Talk about queer shit because it's Pride Month. And so we're going to talk about that. And then next Thursday will be Mikey Famine from Neil the 604 Neil the 604 Deconversion Stories channel. So Mikey will be here next Thursday. So that's what I have coming up on my content. So if you like what I do or want to like and subscribe, do the things like subscribe and do all that shit. Also, as well, if you want to be on the channel or know someone that should be on my show, you can email me here, right here. Or if we're friends on Facebook, just DM me, one or the other. Other than that, I'm going to go now hang out with my husband. And so like, subscribe. You can ring a bell. It's fine. I'm not that. I know I have to do the call to actions, but like, I'm fine, guys. Like, if you want to be here, great. Like, and I really do appreciate the support. Any of you that supported me, share my work, all that type of stuff. It is deeply appreciated. I just want to be out here having cool conversations with really cool, wonderful people. So thank you so much. Anyway, I'm going to say goodnight. Be kind, be skeptical, give someone a compliment, and I will see you here on Thursday. All right. Good night, everybody. Bye.